Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to every one of you. So let's continue from where we stopped. So go ahead, Chinaja. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I did indicate just for his information that production within the country would help the value of the naira, because when we get more foreign reserve currency income, that also helps availability of dollars in the country, and thereby reducing the scarcity. And because demand is that supply is there, demand will be met, and the cost will come down. So I did indicate that when I was making my submission. But my issue is that while we don't have that much manufacturing, the government is allowing it to just go on a free rise. It's just rising, depreciating the value of it, which means anytime any Nigerian wants to buy anything overseas now, will be far more expensive than it was just 3 4 months ago. And that is what he has given to Nigerians. Sometimes it's not always a bad thing if Nigeria starts doing a lot of exports. It means that Nigeria can be able to now take say good this in and we manufacture stuff cheap here, and overseas we sell it and get a lot of dollars to bring stuff into the country. But it's not always like that, because we are not a manufacturing economy, we are not an exporting economy, and hence it's a disadvantage to Nigeria for the currency to be this thing depreciated. Because every time anybody wants to buy anything legitimately overseas, it's going to cost them more. And the same goes for Nigeria. And you also know that because our naira has devalued now, the GDP of the country also plummets. Like last year, if it was the biggest GDP, this is the economy in Africa, because of this, it will come down. And probably Nigeria, as we speak, when the numbers come out, it's no longer going to be the largest economy in Africa. That is what Tinubu has delivered in less than 3 months or so. And if he doesn't do anything to get us out of here, I'm telling you, man, the next 4 years is going to be a catastrophic ride if he doesn't do something about it. But I get a feeling that there might be a chance, because of the refineries are probably going to come online, not by his own making. After all, he's not the one that even set them in motion. And then the other things that he may be able to do, which is like security. Everybody's complaining about his security policy, because there's no use going overseas to ask people to come and invest in your country when you have IDP camps and people kidnapped all over the place. There has been 2 military attacks in less than 2 weeks, where a lot of military personnel lost their lives. So you can't have a country that is like that and you expect people to just come and invest in your country. If you take care of the country, then you'll find that people will come. Don't worry about foreign investors. Nigerians will rush back. The Nigerians that will rush back, you will see the economy just go up, and things will just start improving on its own. So the fact that he went to the UN to go and start, talking as if he's begging them to come to Nigeria, don't worry about begging them. They will come if you fix the country. And I'm glad that a lot of analysts on the TV channels, I saw it on a few Nigerian TV channels, are picking up on this, and they were very aggressive today. They were like, "What is the point of?" And this to let you know what I find a little bit exciting about this is that one of the analysts that was going at Tinubu about this was in support of Tinubu on everything else. I was thinking that when they asked him, he's going to be like, let's give him time. He's going to sort it out. It was like, no, there's no point of Tinubu just going to the UN to come in to talk about people
Sorry,
coming.
this, are we
Fix
are
the
we allowed to
country.
interject now?
Of course, you're free to interject anytime. This is a freer
Of
session,
course,
I think.
of course.
Okay. So to Ninja, one thing is when you started this narrative, I interjected you, and one thing is we are actually living the underlining fundamentals here, and that is what my principal said, Mr. Peter Gregory would be. Now you talk about people not buying Innocent Motor. Why is that not happening? Now, Innocent Motor is producing. The reason why people are buying vehicle from America or buying from other economies because they can get a used vehicle, second-hand vehicle.
They can.
Now, a Nigerian that knows that they can get a second-hand motor from somewhere, vehicle from somewhere, when they don't even have the money to buy, some new vehicle. One thing is, we need to get into production, and all of this over reliance on oil. Countries are deviating from oil. We must, the mass land that we have for agriculture, we're not using that. The herdsmen, the bandit, all of those issues, insecurity need to
But
be
before you
addressed.
drift away from
Yes.
the innocent cars, innocent car can also be a Tokumbo car. There's no real reason why innocent cannot turn Tokumbo after somebody buys it the first time. So it's not an excuse to not buy innocent.
So which Nigeria now? Okay, for which Nigeria will buy innocent motor now, with every amount they invested on it, and then all of a sudden when will it become a used car?
The moment you drive it.
Okay, I don't know how that we play compared to what people get as Tokumbo car from America and then other countries.
You have to ask yourself why you think foreign Tokumbo is going to be much of a difference. It's a car. It moves you from one point to another, and over time,
it's going to be a much of a difference because, one, how long people drive the vehicle before they take it in for over a year. What happened is people can easily get a vehicle, maybe like 2020 or 2018 vehicle, and then trade it in the next 2 or 3 years. Would that happen in Nigeria?
Yeah, but you know that system took years to build, decades.
Can I say something?
Until we get into production.
But you have please go ahead.
Please, I think the idea of the innocent motor, I think you're actually misunderstanding the whole idea of having your own homegrown manufacturing. If a government is invested in the country and the people, the best way to look is local. But most of the governments we've been having are too interested in foreign aid. So immediately you vote them in, they go about looking for foreign direct investment. That's because they can get something out of it. They are a rent seeker state. They know that if they invest in the country, they will not steal much. Because most times when you are investing in the country, what you'll be given is you'll be given tax breaks, tax incentives, but it will go a long way in giving jobs, in creating a conducive country where there's internally generated revenue. But they will not be able to steal much. How many leaders do we have that are ready to put all the resources into electricity, good road? The railway we are seeing today, it started since 2009.
Exactly.
So they are not ready to do it. They are ready. TINUBU has gone abroad looking for foreign direct investment. We have so many billionaires in Nigeria. Just give them tax breaks and conducive environment, create security, create power. Where is the money to steal if you do that? So that's
but don't you think that if you look at Western nations, the more you invest in your country, the more you have money to steal, to be fair. If you look at the theft going on in the West, do you know that the money lost to fraud every year amounts to about $3.7 trillion? That is a lot of money that people are making.
How did the fraud happen?
That will happen. That will happen after you have
Mr. Elvis.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Elvis.
Yes.
Can I take over now because it's my turn? Because this conversation is going somewhere else now.
Who's talking?
It's Mr. Jonathan.
Oh, okay, Mr. Jonathan. Yeah, you, of course, this session anybody can come in.
Okay then. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
So just to complete what I said, they can steal after they've created power, good roads, security, internet. But those things will take a fermentation period where you cannot just steal. You can't steal your capital until you build these things. You cannot begin to steal.
Mm-hmm.
You have to create. I think you have to create fundamentals.
Like in US,
yeah, exactly.
You said like in US here, for example, you can't just see a public figure just walk into now, for example, the governor of Texas, just say, okay, because I'm Greg Abbott, I'm just going to steal money from the treasury. They don't do that. They cannot even do it. They don't have the good to do it. They cannot do
All right,
it.
let's hear from Mr.
But over
Jonathan.
there, over there in Nigeria, they steal.
Since hello, yeah, since the kind of the discussion is kind of tilting towards the Nigerian economy and foreign investment, I think I will just probably stick to that, and then the other areas, if there is time, then we can talk about that. As far as the Naira is concerned, for me, there is no way as it stands, currently stands, that Naira can be restored. Please,
Why?
don't let, yeah, that's a very good question. Naira cannot be restored as it stands right now. It cannot be brought back up, except the needful, which are some of the points that has been raised, are done. They are very rudimentary. They are just straightforward. There has to be production. And when we talk of production, they are not complicated production. Focus on the SMEs. That's the way you have to focus on the SM. Those are the drivers that will drive the economy of Nigeria. These small businesses that does not need more than maximum $25 million. In fact, businesses that needs 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, the 15 million. When you have them like that in their thousands and hundreds of thousands, that's how you drive the economy. The small businesses. That business that has only 5 million, that will employ only 1 or 2. That business that has only 10 million, that will employ only 3 or 4. And now if you have them like that, 300, 400,000 of them in Nigeria, that's how you generate employment. Without that, that's one. The other thing is the external reserve. Please, it's straightforward. Our external reserve has to be increased. Nigeria external reserve now is less than 3 billion. Please, Naira can't go anywhere. It's not possible. Because your external reserve is what is your bulletproof. It's what you use to defend your currency. When your currency is just like the stock market, when the simple analogy that you can tell your 3-year-old, buy high, sell low. When that is how you do it. When it is down, you buy. When it is up, you sell. It is the same thing. So when the Naira is dropping, like pure water, I mean, like as in drop, like when the Naira is turning to, say, for example, 1,500. How do you bring it down? You enter with your foreign reserve. You deliberately enter the market, put in $10 billion. And what do? You start buying Naira. You start buying Naira. You bring it back up. It's as simple as that. He said he went to the NASDAQ, the stock exchange. That's what they do there. They buy and sell. The same thing in the foreign currency market. They buy and they sell. And if you don't have foreign currency, please, I don't know how this is difficult for people to understand. There's no foreign reserve. So you have to borrow. You have to go and borrow money. When Naira is down, you have to go. See, Naira right now is at almost 1,000 Naira. To bring Naira back to 800 Naira, Nigeria will need almost $7 billion. Even just to 800 Naira. Because they call it the forces of the market. You have to buy. Then when it stabilizes, you step aside again and you let the forces go. Because there are speculators there. These speculators, they are sharks. They are looking for opportunities. You will do the same. I will do the same. If I see the opportunity to make money, I will do it. I will sell. In fact, I will sell Naira to bring, so that, you know what, I can make money. So the foreign reserve. So without that,
something.
Is that what?
Can I just add something? To have the Naira appreciate in value is not necessarily desirable if you start doing a lot of manufacturing. But because we are not doing a lot of manufacturing, that's why it's desirable to appreciate the Naira back, because we spend a lot.
But when you are doing but you know that the reason for that manufacturing is for you to have foreign exchange. Yes. So that you sell your product out, and then you have foreign, you have dollars or whatever foreign currency back home. That is the reason why. See, if you look at between dollar and the pounds and the US, look at the pounds and the US for the last 20 years. Look at the movement. is so minute. Within the 20 years, though, I'm talking of 20 years, 2 decades, the distance between the pounds and the US dollar. Look, just what happened earlier this year when it seems like the pounds was crashing before the former government was brought down in United Kingdom. Look at that distance when it seems. How do you think that the British government was able to stabilize the pounds and bring it back? They enter into the foreign market with massive pounds, and they started buying their currency
come
back.
in here? Can I interject you guys?
Yeah, you can.
You see, sometimes I don't know why. Sometimes my thought always go to one place. What is wrong with the black man? Why is it that we don't want to talk about the position we are, and let's face the fundamentals of development? Why do we bring principles that you come and make your own economic a hazardous economy? If you look, all those economy you are talking about, their fundamentals, go and look at it. It's very well laid. You are bringing a theorem that has passed through fundamentals, and you are carrying that theorem on top to come and put on a platform where your fundamentals is cracking.
Which I don't know which one you are talking about. Which theory are you talking about?
I'm talking about I'm going somewhere. Just listen. Anybody in Nigeria talking about economic policy, all your economists, all of them, they have all failed. Anything you say here, you have failed. Because anybody that does not follow the principle which Obi talking about as a state, developing state, is just developing. If you bring any principle from abroad and put it on this platform in Nigeria, it will fail. You have to do one thing. You have to be able to feed yourself. One, you have to be productive. Go back to small scale industries. You have to make your SMA strong. Your SMA will build. When your SMA is in an optimum level, you can bring further theory that will enhance them to grow to be a bigger industry. That's economic growth. Don't bring all this English. Nine don't robots. So
your audio is going fading in and out now and again. Well, I think you basically repeated what the other guy said about manufacturing. But I tell I should add that
I didn't repeat it.
Okay, the British pound.
You people need to go back.
I think Black Panther. I think you said, I will align with you. I think you said exactly what I said, just as Nigeria said. I talked about the SMEs. I talked about SME, the importance of the SMEs, production. Those are the things that we need, And also, at the end, I now emphasize the issue of foreign reserve. They are not complicated. They are just basic. It's not. They are not complicated. These are just basic things. And because we have a corrupt system in Nigeria, they can't do this. Somebody talked about the number of crude oil that Nigeria produces per day. Even just take 1 million barrels, just one. Forget about whether it is 1.8 because people are debating it, whether it is 2 million, whatever. But let's just stick to 1 million barrels at $80 per barrel. Just calculate that. If Nigeria sticks to that, right, where is the money going to? We know that it is corrupt. It is a corrupt system. See,
let me add this. Let me add this before we start saying things like this. The Nigerian state, with the money we get compared to what other nations spend on that, let's say 70% of nations, then you include African nations, let's say non-African nations, 70% of non-African nations spend way more on their economies than we do. And that's why when you see the economy as it is, the country is not doing that well. Don't be too surprised by it. A country like Singapore of 5 million people spends way more money on the economy than we do. We spend about 20-30 billion US dollars or so for our national budget. That is not nearly enough for 200 million people. And that's why you see the economy and the infrastructure is not as good as it should be. So the hole that we need to dig ourselves out of is this this ability to do value-added manufacturing and earn foreign reserve. Obviously, to do that, you have to have a secure environment that people keep underestimating. Then you have to have a power supply. That's another one. If you have just those two and a reasonable level of transparency and a solid legal system, you will see investment flood in. Diasporans, Nigerians will rush back to their country because many people want to come back and feel safe in their country. That safety aspect is a big one because our GDP is currently reducing by 10% or so because of just insecurity alone. That is equivalent to the previous GDP numbers, about 50 billion US dollars. That's what we are losing because of insecurity alone. If it means that any investment you do to fix that insecurity is going to give you the fastest return for
And
your in terms of return.
to talk
The 20
and to
billion,
Nigeria and to talk of foreign investment, that's another lie in Nigeria that we always bend on and fall into. And the government, I don't know, Nigerians have been hypnotized. Probably millions of have been. I don't just know what is working on them. Foreign investment. Nobody will ever come. Whatever propaganda or lies they are running, nobody will come to invest in Nigeria. Nobody, as it stands right now. The only people that will come, Tinubu can go whatever. He can go to Antarctica. He can do whatever. Nobody will come to Nigeria and invest as it stands right now. The only people you will see that will come to Nigeria to invest, I call them foreign opportunists. I don't call them foreign investors. They are opportunists. They take advantage. They are not in the business of coming to a country like Nigeria to do business that will benefit Nigeria as a country or Nigerians or Nigerian citizens. No. They are coming there for a deal. The deal that will benefit them, either as individual or institutional. They could be individual because he was parading Ngelele, his spokesman was parading what Tinubu will do in New York. He will meet with Mobile, the CEO of this, the CEO of that, blah, blah, blah. They will just do personal deals that will be personal to an individual or institutional people. And then the people in Nigeria that will also benefit from it. That's the only thing you will see as Nigeria stands. But for an investment that they will bring to Nigeria, that will benefit Nigeria as a country, as a state, that will develop even a state in Nigeria. Please, even somebody that goes to that pass the front of a school, not to enter to even study, just pass through. We know that is a lie. It's not going to happen. Nobody is going to come and invest. First of all, we talk about electricity, which is the main issue. Who will come and invest in Nigeria as it stands? There are so many opportunists. Yes, they will come, including nations. Including the EU. They will come.
They will come by themselves now.
They will come, but not
when you have a sizable market like Nigeria, they will flood in. You don't need to beg them. They will rush in to come and invest.
The 20 billion you mentioned, you remember that more than 70% of the money is even stolen. If we are even accountable and we even invest that $20 billion that you mentioned, 100% into the economy without the money going into private pockets, unfortunately, like it happened during the Buhari era, that more than 95% of whatever they borrowed, they shared the money and left Nigerians hungry. So if they would even be accountable, and that is where the fundamental issues come in. Let the votes of the people count. That is the baseline. So that when people come into office, they know that they are there to serve the people and they will be accountable to the people. That is the fundamental thing. Even then, we will now start talking of agriculture that P2B was hammering on. Agriculture, and this Bola Tinubu and article we are going about with their copy and paste manifesto quoting highfalutin so-called macroeconomic wherever foreign investment is fundamental things like the have already mentioned, agriculture, small and medium scale enterprises, even as small as shoemaking, as small as tailoring, so get the basics right. Let the votes of the people count. Invest in the people. Let the cost of governance be reduced. See, if you are hoping that things will change for the better during TINUBU'S era, see, you are dancing into
even my brother,
into the castle of Cinderella.
Can I interject here?
Even if you talk about the main,
worse.
even if you come to the one other key issue when it comes to foreign investment, which is the rule of law. These white people, they know this. They are not fools, so they know. You yourself, even let's come to basis. Nigerians in diaspora, will you ask yourself the question and give yourself the honest answer? Will you now take your whatever, whether you have 100,000 or 1,000,000 or whatever amount you have, will you now take it to go and establish business and stay in Nigeria? If your answer is as it stands now, where somebody can come and bulldoze everything you put on ground, and they will go to you will go to court, because your last hope is the court. That court you are going, you stand no chance. These white people, these Europeans, Americans, they know more than that. They are smarter than that. Before they invite a country to join the European Union, before even their own EU, the key requirement is your judiciary. If you do not set up, you are going nowhere. They will, in fact, they will have hand in it, in the setting up of it. You have to meet their standard. So,
Can I interject?
yeah, you can go ahead, my brother.
I wanted to give you guys
my brother, hold on. Make I use local language talk this one. You see, there's one thing. You see, me, I'm hungry here with the government, and I'm angry at too much grammar on economy. The fundamental problem here is that, you see, how many of us have been to Aba? I guess it's only a few of us, with the exception of the Igbos. I school in Port Harcourt, so I've been there several times. If you people go and see the mammoth number of SMEs that are striving on their own without government input, you begin to wonder. And you take your statistics. I want to see, it's no matter of, let us talk about all of us are Nigerians now. And let us talk on each strength. That is what make up a federation. Everybody has his own strength that can really make an impact in the development of each state. But we have refused to take up that issue, exploit that issue, exploit so to the maximum point, whereby we see Nigeria develop. Okay, take for instance now, I have been to Aba. I saw it point blank. Not be say all of us will talk grammar. I've been to Aba, that is on ground, and see the amount of SME. And I've been in Lagos. I have seen the amount of SME. I have been to Calabar, Port Harcourt. Then I see the amount of SME growing. And I look at it. The people that are driving this SME are just from one section of the country. Then the people that are driving the forest in Nigeria are from one particular point of the country. The people that are driving the SME, they now went into banking, they got some shares in the banking sector, they joined them, and they are right in there in the banking sector. We are not looking at this at all. But the reason why Nigerian government cannot work is this. We are not one. The first thing, that is one first thing. We are, no matter of grammar you talk here. The Eastern brother, they are good in SMEs and development of industries in Nigeria. Let us be factual here. I don't want to mix issue. If you want to say I'm lying, go on ground and take your statistics. And let us be straightforward. We are one. We don't want to be greedy. We don't want to be jealous of each other.
Sorry,
we should face the reality.
Can I just interject briefly? I don't think anyone would even argue that our Eastern brothers are not the most industrial.
They are arguing the fact, madam. They are people.
Who is arguing the fact? Who is arguing?
They are arguing it all over the country.
I've not come across that because
if they keep on oppressing the Eastern Bloc, Nigeria will not develop.
Black Panther. Before you start,
I want to be straightforward.
Black Panther, before you start a fight in an empty room, hold on now. I've been to Aba just in case you think I've not been to Aba.
I asked a question here.
All these states you mentioned, I've been to them.
Hold on for me.
Okay, go ahead.
I asked a question here. Who among us have been to Aba before? Nobody answered me.
I have. Just in case.
Where did you go in Aba?
I went to the market in Aba. And
never go there before.
What are you talking about?
It's easy for you to be talking drama.
You see, some people stop saying that I've gone to Aba. I've been in Port Harcourt. You think I don't know Port Harcourt? I know Mile 1, Mile 2, Diobu. I know all of them. I know the Aba market, so don't even go there.
You keep on saying grammar. We are oppressing and destroying the nation.
Can I give you guys an expo? I was in a meeting of CEOs where they were discussing about entering into Nigeria, into Africa. You know this what's it called? They are chambers of commerce. Yes. Mm-hmm. So they gave me a hint. They said when they give advice, they give advisory to businesses to go to Africa. It's only when they want to give advice to go into Nigeria that they tell them to prepare for private security. So that means that's added cost. These are people who give advice to investors to come into your country. So this is what they tell the business people who are coming to your country, that they should get private security. And if you check Nigeria's business terrain, you find that most of the multinationals have their own private security. Some of them bring in security from South Africa, and most of those people, if you find most of those people there, they have military background. Some of them are snipers in their different countries. Some of them are snipers in their different countries before they came into Nigeria. They are in Nigeria just for security purpose. We have so many strange foreign elements living with our people in Nigeria. Not all of them there are there to work. Some of them are just there to reconnoiter and secure their businesses. You see some people in plain clothes, but they're security officers of their different companies. And this is how it is. These are the things that increase cost of investment in Nigeria. This is why Nigeria is losing from both home and abroad. And one more thing you have to know is, do you know how much stress will be relieved of your country if you have good governance? Just say that, say for instance now, Peter Obi won the election. You know how advantageous that would be for the whole country? Where somebody that everybody believes is there to work. Two things that cripple us. If we can work on them before we start talking of fundamentals, our military is so corrupt. They are the reason why your NSAS and everything cannot work. Because they have been secured. They have secured themselves with oil money. And two, the National Assembly, you cannot do anything without them foiling it. They're just so corrupt. They're in there for their own personal businesses. If you can get these two out of the way, you can start talking about good, electricity and everything. But when you are trying to even say, okay, let us build a dam here, somebody gets lobbied collects money, puts inside his pocket, lobbies the whole setup in his own district or part of the country, and they stand down. They say, no, we're not doing this. That's what you have in the National Assembly.
The way corruption tends to work is that it's a kind of loop whereby you reduce it based on the input that you have into the economy. Like right now, most of the economy of Nigeria and many African countries is hemorrhaging a lot of resources and this wealth into foreign countries. So it means that the economy itself is being starved of. It's almost like you use a horse to go and farm this and harvest a crop, and then they get back home. He didn't give the horse any food. It's like the next time he's going to misbehave now. And that is what you see in the Nigerian economy. The economy is being starved of resources. It's almost as if he does all the work, and we generate $500 billion this in GDP. But
Nigeria, do you know where you can
stop
those people from investing their money outside? Do you know which body can stop that? Stop the free flow of our money outside our borders? It's the National Assembly. If they make it a law that you put your money in that country, you don't take money out, how are they going to do that when they are all corrupt?
Exactly. So that's why you have to start from gradually. I wouldn't say gradually. You like with the way we started stopping the theft of oil, because most of that money, when they steal the oil, the payments are not even made into Nigerian account because they can track it, but they are made overseas where you can't track the money, and the money doesn't come back to Nigeria. So you first start blocking all the loopholes that they used to get the money out of the country, because the laws are there now. It's just that nobody's executing it. And one of the problem of executing it is that all our security establishment is incapable. They are not broad enough. They are not wide enough. There's
which
a video.
Law? Which law?
Oh, the anti-laundering law and all kinds of different laws that they put in place to prevent capital from leaving the country. They have them. It's not because they don't have them. They are not executing them. So I was trying to say something about this thing, what the CBN did to try to curb this illicit flow overseas. So if we are able to stop that one and encourage Nigerians that have resources overseas to bring them back into the country, just Nigerians alone, you'll be surprised gradually, because people are now getting more money in their pocket. Because if you have money in an economy, you have to spend it somewhere. You have to build a house. That's a carpenter. That's a bricklayer. That the economy starts circling around. Even if you want to use the money to go and, as they say, catch cruise, you have to go to a nightclub. You have to go to somewhere. The money is going to go around. This is why even when people are corrupt in the West, because their money is not fleeing somewhere else, they are still developing, because the money still remains within their system. Even when they put it in tax haven, it's their tax haven.
You're right. What you said in the system, there's something that, sorry, I cut you short. There's something that David Houdin said. I've forgotten the way he explained it, but he captured it succinctly, that there is the government in Africa, especially Nigeria, are so stupid. They are so stupid that even when they frustrate you and you jack back, they still don't, they are trying to stop. I've forgotten the way he explained it, but just what you are trying to explain here, that the capital, they prefer to sell the raw material and make quick ends, when they should have, educated the population, the people that are jackpying, so that they in turn, amongst them, will be discoverers, scientists that will later on be able to work on the resources on the ground, so that there will be no need for external investors to come in. Rather, you will have your own people discovering uses for your resources. As it is, your president goes out to look for people, not to come and invest in the people and the manufacturing, but to come and take raw materials. What do we manufacture in that country?
I think though, African leaders are beginning to catch on, and this is one of the things I said about the macro environment. If the macro environment is favoring them now, they are beginning to catch on that they need to start doing value added manufacturing on the country. They talk about it a lot. Not a lot of it has happened that we can say, okay, it's something that's changed for good. So if they are able to do that, like every time a leader goes to sign any agreement with foreigners to just come and take natural resources, they are doing it because they are compromised. They know full well they are not stupid. Yeah, they are compromised. Those people that they are signing it with, what they know is that they will take these resources, those people are going to make something out of it, and they're going to come back to sell it to us double or triple the price. This is the name of the game. We give them this crude oil, they make petrol for us, and we buy the petrol back. We don't do manufacturing properly, and our leaders know it, and they are looking to try to change it. The question is, are they doing it? Tinubu himself made a case for national security at Chatham House. About the security policy. Has he said one thing about that since he got into office? No. And he goes to the UN and says that we will not trade one shackle for another one, and at the same time goes and start asking them for money.
What salad?
It's like it's like, why, if you say you don't want shackle, why are you asking them for stuff?
Why are you outside the country now?
See, when I analyze their speeches, even the African leaders, I put all three African leaders, put Tinubu, Ramaphosa, and the Ghanaian President Kufo. And what I found was that African leaders are just going there to beg. Hi. They are going there to beg. That's basically what it is. When you go deep into what they are saying and you flesh it out, they are basically begging other people. The other one say, we want reparation. You are begging. The reparation, what are you doing? You are still asking them to give you something. You tell them the international community. Do you know what a Ghanaian leader said? He said, why should we have to be spending all this money to defend our northern border? Like, who do you expect to defend your northern border for you? Oyibo man to come and defend your border. So these leaders, they go there to be begging and disgracing us. Why I call it a disgrace? Yeah,
you know one thing. It's not every training you need from foreigners. It's not everything you need training for. You start with what you have first. Like, for instance, engineering does not require somebody teaching you everything from A to Z. You have your own peculiarity. Your soils are different. Your terrains are different. That means your engineering should be suited to your own peculiarity, to your own terrain. Why do you have to bring in people to come and train your engineers in the first place? You don't need. It is only when the technology now surpasses you, then you find out, okay, maybe you can borrow something from here to add to your own. Then you can seek, you can go out and look for. But there's no country that doesn't have its own engineers, as in specifically for your own terrain. People who like in Europe, they have snow. That is why they have a technology for pushing out warm water when you want to use warm water. There's a tech for that. You don't have snow. Did they go anywhere to study to look for that? No. They saw that these things are not even boiling water anywhere. It is the ground. There's a level you will reach in the ground. It will bring hot air. And if you go for that,
those jerseys, isn't it?
Yes. So these are peculiarities to their environment. What are the peculiarities to our own environment before these leaders start deceiving us that, oh, we are going here to go and we need this and that? What do we actually, we don't even know how do we connect our schools with our industries?
They know what they need to do. If you analyze all these leaders, their UN speeches, that's when it just crystallizes what they do. They speak one with one mouth, and then the other mouth says something else. They say you don't, like the way Tinubu says, I don't want to sell one shackle for another. Then the next minute you go and ask them for help. That is shackling yourself. They will say they are like this in Kufo says we want reparation. We want to be able to manage our affairs. At the same time, say Why should we have to spend all this money defending our northern border? Our international partners are not supporting us. It's like, what is wrong with you?
I don't know.
And it tells you that this is the game they play with us. They will say one thing like they are trying to make progress, and then they will give away the kind of slave mentality that they have, and the way they sell their people out. And that's how they run the economy. They pretend as if they are doing something, but they never actually make any strategic progress that takes us somewhere in the world.
No strategy. And when you speak, they make you look like you are either angry or you are obedient. And they have co-opted so many Nigerians into believing that shit. Who are obedient? The people they are calling obedient are just the people who have refused to swallow the shit that is being poured.
I think people, their eyes will open soon. See, Tinubu, not by his own hand, and I'll keep saying this. The environment, if you show up at the right time, you know, like a seed that like I think the Bible talks about a seed that lands on the rock. What are you going to do? You can't grow there. No matter how good you are as a seed, you can't make it. So if Tinubu may have landed at a time when things are good in terms of the geopolitical environment favors Nigeria, so likely the Dangote refinery may come online, and that could be to his benefit, which is not him that did it. The Port Harcourt refinery may come online, which might happen to be to his benefit. He's not the one that did it. The only thing he has done is this foreign exchange, and he's practically almost destroyed the Nigerian economy.
I was sure the Port Harcourt refinery is coming online, because I've heard and overheard that they wanted to sell that refinery, and all of a sudden these days I'm hearing that the Port Harcourt refinery is coming on. How many percent of that refinery is going to be even working?
It's supposed to be full. I think it's full capacity. What's the point of fixing it? It's not going to be up to. And it's not only the refinery that is being fixed; all of them are getting fixed. So it's just that they're talking about the Port Harcourt refinery because it's the first one that they're saying is going to come online. So,
but this is a country that is built on wastages.
We know that, and
if you look deep into this country, you wonder why. Okay, for instance, now we're trying to stretch a pipe to Europe. Why didn't you just stretch a pipe to Kaduna or stretch a pipe to Sokoto? Why did they have to build a refinery in Kaduna? I don't understand this, my country.
They build a refinery in Kaduna.
Why do we have to build a refinery in Kaduna?
I think they probably did it there so that they can refine it there, and from there shift it to this thing. They want to transfer the there.
This is how our destinies have been shifted for so long.
The refinery in Kaduna, was just simply built because we cannot just allow these southerners to have everything, So even if it is not necessary in Kaduna, let's just put it there, like it has been in Nigeria's history. So there must be one in Kaduna by all means, even if it's not viable, even if it's not even sensible, they must put one there, So, and then for the so-called Dangote refinery that has been in the news since 2013, for more than 10 years now, we've been hearing of Dangote. We all know the Dangote story. I'm not going to start telling it. Everybody knows that Dangote is like the common basket of.
So continue. I had a question about the Dangote refinery. Please, where are they rigging the oil? Is it from Lagos?
Sorry?
Is there oil? Is there really oil in Lagos, or are they giving us?
Oh no! The oil is coming from River State. It's
from the oil producing areas, really. So Dangote is like the basket of Nigeria's corruption. Anyway, all the members of the reigning class, they all invest their loot in Dangote. So they are just telling us, when Dangote comes on board, since 2013, in fact, in a very serious society, if probably government had transparently privatized the refineries we had, and they were bought over by serious people, in a very transparent process, and they even reject our refineries, we would have gone past the story of waiting for Dangote refinery. For crying out loud, Peter Obi said it very clearly that he would give people the license to to build refineries, as much as they could, small refineries, modular refineries. Once you can build it, and then government will supervise this and make sure you are not going against the rules. Then we can refine crude oil, in different areas, and then have products, byproducts of crude oil available to people. Petrol is not only the byproduct of crude oil. There are so many things that we can get from crude oil, more than 30 different things we can get from crude oil and boost our manufacturing. So this whole issue, we are waiting for Dangote. This whole talks of that Dangote, the whole discussion makes me sick. Because it's a
Why do
fraud.
you have issues with Dangote when you hear about innocent? You call it a fraud. Why did you do that? Because if the Dangote is offering value, at least is making something, while all these other useless leaders just take capital and hide it away.
Saying, started from the scratch.
Yeah,
We did not hear that
let's see how you're going to tap dance around that one.
we did not hear
Go
that Innocent got billions of dollars from our foreign reserve from the government to set up his industry. So Innocent
How do
is
you know
self-made,
Innocent got money
just like
from the federal
Ibeto.
government?
So my issue is not about the person of Dangote. My issue is about the activities of the Dangote conglomerate, which we all know in Nigeria. I know you want to defend.
Hold on. That's what happens to large companies. Large companies always have issues with people not very liking one thing or the other they are doing. But for me, you have to look at the fact that compared to other people that just run with the money, if you look at TINUBU'S wealth now, what is TINUBU wealth really doing for Nigeria? Okay, yeah, maybe Alpha Beta is doing something, but he's taking a lot of money from Lagos. So, but Dangote is actually creating something. He's making cement, fertilizer. I think he's into rice too. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, sugar. He's doing stuff that people actually need. Some of all these people, they just go round tripping round
with the
and run away with money. Huh?
My discussion is in relation to refinery.
To Nigeria, your
People are
position
waiting
there.
for Dangote refinery to come on board, and then there is so much secrecy
I
around
think
that.
I see what Rita is saying. I'm aware of Dangote's activities in terms of what he did with Bill Gates. I don't like all those things. Those people, they are part of the problem of the country where they always think that Igbo people are always our saviors, and they compromise our security and our prosperity just because they want to be part of the club. But that said, compared to other rich men, that's what I'm just looking at. Other people that are doing business, he's offering value at least.
To Nigeria, please, your position as far as Dangote is concerned is not balanced. Why?
Okay.
It's not balanced at all. Why? The other guy, the other speaker mentioned that which other company or individual has been, supported by government. That's one. Two, which other businesses in Nigeria has been supported to the point where that business will be the sole importer or distributor of a specific product? Let them give Inox in that now. Let them say that you cannot bring any car to Nigeria except Inox. They did that for Dangote. So it is not a fair playing field.
What product are you referring to?
For example, the Dangote.
You know the story.
Okay, leave him. Let him answer now. Let's get facts from him. What product did they give only Dangote ability to import?
Of course, the most recent. You all know the most recent. The crude oil has been. They gave Dangote.
But it's not only him now. It's not only
they
him.
gave him. No, wait until it takes effect. When that Dangote that you are peddling all over the place, that Dangote refinery that you are peddling all over the place now, let it start production. And then at that point in time, let us see who will be bringing refined oil to Nigeria. Because we've just said that they invested their money. All the politicians.
Oil to Nigeria. He already had that's the purpose of Dangote. Nigeria has the crude oil. You can't refine oil. He can only bring petrol or
Why
diesel.
is it that the government of Nigeria, as they say, charity begins at home? Let's just take the basic one, the inoxin manufacturing of vehicles, automobiles in Nigeria. The government, which state in Nigeria does not have foreign vehicles as their main means of transport, that they have not invested massively into it, from the governor to local government chairman, and then come down up to the federal level. Which of them is actually saying, okay, as a matter of policy, as a matter of government policy, that we are going to start now buying? If you are a government agency, a government ministry or parastatals, by law, you are not allowed to buy any foreign cars. You must use locally made cars. Start from there. And if that impact will not be felt within the economy,
Isn't that what I
even
said
at that
earlier
level.
on? That's what I said earlier on, that
I said
the government
that before now.
that the government should be looking at passing those type of rules to force
And
Nigerians to actually buy Nigerian-made products.
Further to that, in a typical automobile, just a typical automobile has more than 23,000 parts coupled together to assemble or make an automobile. 23,000. These are individual parts that individual entities and corporations and businesses can be manufacturing in Nigeria and supplying it to Inoxin.
Yep.
Government did not create that enabling environment. These are just simple things. They are not complicated. It's not rocket science at all. It's not rocket science at all. Even just ordinary.
Yeah, but what has that got to do with the maligning Dangote for actually manufacturing cement and all the other stuff? What has that got to do with Dangote?
How many people, tell me, to Nigeria, how many people are importing cement to manufacturing cement or importing cement to Nigeria?
A few other, I think they have Boa Cement, they have this in different other cement companies in Nigeria. But
the thing happened during the Obasanjo era. The story of Ibeto, which is well known by people that have been following, what has been happening in Nigeria, really. That Ibeto story was a sucker punch, to Ibeto, because, he was trying to rub shoulders with Dangote, really, which was good, trying to create competition, which would have crashed the price of cement, but Obasanjo had other ideas, and he dealt Ibeto that blow, and Dangote became like a monopoly.
Oh, your audio seems to have gone. Sorry.
The point I'm trying to make is not like you are trying to box us into the regional tribal corner, which is not my point even. In fact, even Innocent and the like, I know you very well.
You got yourself boxed in. You started
it. So you want to paint this picture that I hate Dangote because he's a Kanuri man.
Sometimes I'm not sure it's Hausa. It's not Kanuri. It's Hausa. And my concern is that it's actually Hausa. Have you checked
from
his profile?
State. He's Kanuri.
Oh, he says
from
Hausa. He identifies himself as Hausa, so let's leave it for him.
It's Kanuri. It was Kanuri. His mother, was related to the Dantatas.
Except his online profile is wrong. I'm telling you what I know, what I see online.
No. For the Northerners, really, wherever you are born is where you are from, which used to be the case in Nigeria, and that was how an Hausa man emerged the mayor of Enugu those days, when, this issue of tribalism had not got into this, peak. But the point I'm trying to make,
you have to leave it that he identifies himself as Hausa. Don't be calling him this in Kanuri when he identifies himself as Hausa.
The point I was trying to make is not like someone like Innocent or the likes of Innocent, because there are millions of small and medium scale businessmen in Nigeria, really, that need to be supported. They are not even asking the government to have a bias towards them. No, they're asking for a level playing ground to be there. during the time of Jonathan, the 4-year time of Jonathan, 70% of the billions that we are earmarked, to be given to businesses, 70% of the money went to Dangote, really.
But see, do you know, have you ever heard of the company they call Bechtel in America? This company, the same thing, dominates a lot of this in projects and stuff that the American government does. There is also Lockheed Martin. They have projects worth over $1 trillion with the American government. You have these type of institutions in big countries, and to see Dangote, you have to. What I ask myself is, like Lockheed Martin, is Lockheed Martin doing anything for the American states? Why do they have $1 trillion? Yeah, they manufacture aircraft. They manufacture things for the government. In the case of Dangote, what does he do? He creates something. People buy food in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, food price in Nigeria before the fuel subsidy removal was one of the cheapest you will find in West Africa.
In Nigeria, your comparison, you are comparing apple with oranges. It doesn't.
Okay, tell me how the apple is orange here, because it's
the company. See, the aeronautical, the company you are using as a comparison in America, that is a specialized industry. See, let me tell you, let me bring it down to you. Bottom line.
In Nigeria,
give that woman. Listen, let me bring it down. Maybe this will shock you. That leverage that you give Dangote, tell me what expertise that is needed. Give that woman that is selling puff-puff on the roadside the same playing field you give Dangote, if that woman will also not be a billionaire. Tell me the technicalities that are involved. You are talking about the aeronautical companies in the US. Those are specialized industries that require specific technology with even intelligence.
Because they have 5 heads.
No, not that they have 5 heads.
Like
if a company now, let's say for example, if you say Dangote now is supplying Nigerian Air Force or even the raw materials to service Nigerian Air Force fleet, the Nigerian Air Force fleet, then fine. What they're talking about rice, you are talking about cement.
Rice people, they have to read their one now. What the soldiers going to eat?
A lot of people
supply sugar.
Then tell me the food processing company in US. There are thousands and thousands of them. The food processing companies in US that has leverage from the United States government than the other.
You know, the federal government distributes fertilizer. Where do you think they get this fertilizer from? Probably Dangote. The federal government does a lot of things that they actually use the Dangote refineries to do, like cement now. He literally has his own rail line to transport cement to different parts of the country, which can be used for dual purposes, because transporting cement doesn't mean you can't use it for something else. So he's doing something.
Can I ask though, please? Then what I really struggle with the monopoly that Dangote has. Why can they not diversify and give other people? There are people that Dangote has come in and crushed them out of business because he has an everlasting kind of relationship from one government to the other, who would always favor him and support policies that would support his business. And one thing I want to bring our attention to is that all these are Nigerian billionaires. Dangote, most especially, is one of the global elite's babies. He's there to be used by the WEF club, And for me personally, I don't think it is of any good that he has the monopoly to supply a lot of the foods that we eat, our food, our rice, our sugar, our pasta, our fertilizer, cement, and all these things. To be honest with you, I really worry with the quality and the safety of these things, because there is no proper control, safety and quality control and quality check. How are we sure what is being laced with all these things that he has the monopoly over? Anyway, I'm just putting words there for us to see.
I think part of it is that we are not used to a culture where governments work with large private companies and individuals that this is something that happens very often in any other country. We see them all over the place, from Monsanto's to Pfizer, to Lockheed Martins to Boeing. We see them happen with this in other nations all the time. And you have to argue that, okay, if we are running a capitalist and a democratic system that we all went and signed on to, then you have to expect these things to be happening. If you had a communist or socialist system, you are not going to have them happen like that, because the people will own almost everything. So Dangote emerging in a capitalist scenario is a good thing. You need big giants to be emerging with your within your economy. Yes.
I don't think. I
No.
don't
Dangote was made a giant.
A lot of businesses are dying because of
Dangote was made a giant. You know,
I don't think there is any area Dangote is operating that we don't have other businesses like cement. There are other people manufacturing cement. There are other people manufacturing fertilizer. There are other people manufacturing sugar. It's not only him. I don't think there's any industry fully dominated.
Other people having refineries.
Nigeria is going to have it. So yes, other people have refineries too. He just has a big one, the biggest one. Yeah. You don't know. There's a refinery that's being built in I think Calabar also that I got. There's other. I don't know what other Nigerian again that is also rich. Yeah, they have many Nigerian.
Can I say something about the Dangote's business model? Dangote,
go ahead.
Luckily, he came in when when there was the northern rule in Nigeria, and he, by virtue of his longevity in the business sector, he has met several governments. Government succeed government, and he's been there. But one thing that has been Dangote's fault is that he sponsors political parties even before they become, even before they emerge as the ruling parties. I'm saying this because I've been an insider. They just say, okay, let's go meet Dangote, let's go meet Otedola. This is live. So any government that comes into power, any day, anytime, go and mark by whether you like to believe or not.
But that is how all these large companies, everything you are describing is not unusual. It's their behavior.
Yeah,
that's
not unusual. Yeah, so that's why the government cannot come in and start chastising or antagonizing them.
Because he gives both sides money. I won't call it
it seems that, let me see. It seems that, to Nigeria, just as I said, you are making a point, but you are not being fair with your, the way you are analyzing it. You are putting it on the table. And even the last speaker, these things are based, all those other countries that you are using as comparison, don't bring them in. You can, if you want to stay on Nigeria, analyze it based on Nigerian politics, Nigeria, political, economic, policies and systems. Stick to that. It doesn't fit any analysis or comparison with foreign countries. See, this foreign company, let me land. These foreign companies that you are talking about, as I said earlier, they are mostly technical, specialized, technological outfit. Tell me which United States company that the US got that is a food processing company, or that they said that the US government is backing up both financially, and then they can even use government guarantees to get loans from the bank. Tell me one, or go to UK, even there in United Kingdom. Which of the no? But if you talk
why do you ask a question and just answer it?
I answer it because I'm telling you, because I know. Because I know that
you can't just answer the question and say that you know the answer. That's how it works.
Because I'm just telling you that. I'm just telling you that these are in the foreign climate. The government does that. Yes, fine. We all know government support businesses, and they take some companies. There are some industries. I'll give you examples. There are some industries, say in United States, that they will say these companies cannot yet use that word, that single word, can do that's phrase, cannot go down. Government will back it up with everything. They have tagged them. If they need money, if there are companies in US today, if they need $1 trillion today, the US government will stand up and back them up. Those are the companies, because they know the importance of those. And so it is also in United Kingdom, in Canada. There are some specific companies. See, you can't just come you can't just come. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not about specialty, it's about the jobs involved.
It's about the jobs.
Yeah,
So what kind of job are you talking about? What kind of job? Is it rice?
It's about the
what kind of
number
job are you talking? You are not talking about. Okay,
why are you badmouthing the rice producers as if
is Dangote? See, is Dangote manufacturing tractors?
So is Nigeria manufacturing rockets? Nigeria is where it is. See, Nigeria. See, let me tell you, Dangote is equivalent to Lockheed Martin in America. Nigeria is not exactly manufacturing. Nigeria is not exactly manufacturing Mercedes. We are not exactly manufacturing space rockets.
Take the statistics of how many people Dangote is employing.
Thousands.
That's the reason why it should be protected.
Millions.
That's the only reason why
I don't know why people don't understand that. There are a lot of people that see. There are people that are not even doing what Dangote is doing in terms of just get the money. Hold on, Jonathan, hold on now. The point I'm making is that, earlier on I said, if the money remains in the economy, generally the damage that like corruption does is not null and void. It tends to go away over time if the funds remain there in the economy. But many of our leaders, where the damage is happening is that they take the money and put it in foreign countries. That sometimes they even put it in blind accounts that don't even have a name on it. So if anything happens to them and the way they can track the money doesn't is lost somehow, that money goes away. Nigeria has just lost that money. But Dangote, on the other hand, is actually investing in the country, not even investing overseas and any money overseas, investing in the country, producing valuable stuff that Nigerians are consuming. So to say that the work he's doing is not worthy, I'm not sure is fair to him compared to other people. He's actually investing and hiring people.
The argument against Dangote from all reasonable angles should be that he has been unfairly given advantage over other businesses. If Dangote, for instance, is employing 1 million people today, maybe an Ibeto would have been employing maybe 200,000. Maybe another businessman would have been, and there will be ripple effect, because Nigeria is not just the market. They are spreading out to Togo, Ghana, and all these other countries. We are their distributors, But
see, my brother, please, my brother. See, tell me which company or companies in Nigeria that has access to government guarantees, federal government guarantees to access credit. The way Dangote has. See, what we are saying is that I'm not saying that Dangote is not a businessman or it's an outfit. It's a business outfit. He has created an empire out of a playing field that is not fair. That's what I'm saying. That give the same opportunities to Nigerians, then we will have thousands and thousands of Dangote. That's what I'm saying. Dangote, see.
I think the Nigerian government, they don't give that much opportunity. I think that I agree with you. There's not that much opportunity.
They only get, because the reason why they did that to Dangote is because what is in it for them. Please, let's understand what is in it. The politicians.
See, let me say this. I think what is happening in Nigerian economy is that they allow just enough people to operate. Dangote is just one of them.
Okay, take the average businessman in any part of Nigeria, maybe in the southern part or in the eastern part of Nigeria, that needs $100,000 or $50,000. He needs to change $50,000. He will have to go to the black market and get it at maybe $950 or $980. Talking of today. If Dangote need that amount, let's just bring it down to that macro level. If Dangote needs that amount, Dangote will go to Central Bank of Nigeria to secure that money, probably at 500 naira. So that's not a level. That's not a that's the problem we have in Nigeria.
Let me explain something in a capitalist system. I think to an extent, what I also discovered was that people tend to not understand the capitalist system. something that they attribute to corruption may just be the advantage that comes with being richer. Like when you are richer, things are easier for you. You can navigate the law, you can navigate the system a lot faster than any other person. When some other person is watching, they will just say, "Oh, it's a corrupt system." Yeah, it's a corrupt system because it favors the rich. It's just the name of the game. That's why it's capitalist. It favors the rich. When a rich man wants to navigate this, he can hire 10 lawyers to navigate a process that is there. But if another person wants to do it, they can't even do it. They don't even have the capacity because they don't have the bandwidth to be able. How are they supposed to process all the documents? But a rich man will do that.
Tunaja, let me shock you with that argument you're making. In other same clients, in similar clients, it is intentional that they push out entrepreneurs. Every year they have a number that they want to push out. They know that not all of them will succeed, but they want to push them out. You know why? Because these companies, this business are specialized in creating structures that hold and retain employees, which the government cannot do or should not even be doing. The government is just there to protect them so that they will hold these employees so that they don't overheat the polity. If people are not employed, crime will increase. That is where the government starts spending its money into securing and securing the yeah, exactly. But instead, they are ready to print money. They are ready to help them just to hold people.
Was it not the Obama that saved the car company when they were about to go bust?
Yeah, they do that. In fact, that is because that is what a government is there to do, to keep everybody busy so they don't have any ideas of
if other people lose their jobs, they start getting crazy and looking for trouble.
Exactly. So but the Nigerian model, the Nigerian situation is just too different. Once you start in a business, they're coming after you like, oh, you have something to give to us. You must give us this. That is what people don't understand. That's why we don't understand it at all. They go out, they go look for foreign direct investment. No, come back here, focus on the local ones, print money, save them, let them gather all these youth. All
Nigeria,
jobs.
Everything we have been complaining about is that the Nigerian government are not giving Nigerians opportunities. Sometimes they pretend as if they are doing, they will just yank it away. Just today, I just saw a Nigerian in Nigeria. This guy was invited to Ghana to come and do something, and he went to Ghana. They did this stuff that they did. A lot of people were there to show off what they are going to do. And he, as a Nigerian, he went there and he won the stuff. And it tells you, and he was funded all through the process by the Ghanaians. If that was Nigeria that they did that kind of stuff, they will make you pay for it. And when you don't win, you just give it transport and you go home. That's it. But these people funded it, and the Nigerian went there to win. Not, when we talk about Nigerians leaving Nigeria to the US, and this one from Nigeria to Ghana, the difference showed. And he won it, and he swept the Ghanaians aside. So
myself, I'm a typical example here. Well, we all came from Nigeria with capitalist mindsets. Okay, we've never gotten anything like grants or anything from our government. So
they don't give us money there.
When we go for projects, we just do it like, okay, this plus this will give us this, and that was all we're doing here. They were the one who noticed us, and I'm like, come. No, there's a special grant for this kind of things. They forced us to apply, and they kept responding. This is what they have become so good at it that they come for you, and they don't have the kind of resources Nigeria has. That's why it is painful. Every state in Nigeria
they have more money though. They have more money to spend.
They are no. I don't think so. They are just fastidious about how they spend it, and there's less corruption.
US prints money.
No, not US. In Europe, with Scandinavia here, they are very.
Oh yeah, okay. Scandinavia, they do watch their pennies. They have money. They do have money, but they do watch their money. Yes.
No, what I would say is that
I think Scandinavia is the least corrupt part of the world. Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But even the ones who are corrupt in Europe and America, you can still see dividends. In our own case, they corrupted everything. The institutions are not even there anymore. Police is not there. Military is
our system have been so hollowed out. Our system have been so hollowed out that our people don't even know how bad it is.
Everybody from A to Z is corrupt. Everyone. I'm not saying it because I want to put down the country. Everyone is just mention any parasita or any place that is not corrupt.
You hear what all these people want to say. Why are you chat people all hated? This was that you just want to make other talk. Please stop arguing. He thinks he knows it all.
If you love the country, you make spirited effort to change it. That's what we love this country so much. The country is well endowed from A to Z. Every damn state is a money maker. Everybody in Nigeria has a business idea. Everybody, not even one person that doesn't have.
I've said it before now. Everybody's an asset. Is there anything Tinubu will ever do, this government will ever do, that you will say, you know what, you are a thief, you are everything, but I will forgive you for doing all these things for Nigeria? What would he do that you forgive him? You laugh, eh?
those things that he can do.
What would he do that you will say, I forgive
there
you?
Are things. Let me tell you. Let me answer it to Nigeria. There are things that he can do, right? But the fact of the matter is that even if he has no capacity to do it, the people around him cannot make.
It's a thought experiment.
It's an hypothetical question.
Don't include making hand over to P2B.
No. For me, the only thing Tinubu will do now that will make me forgive him straight away, it's for Tinubu to come out and drop this power, tell Nigerians that I'm sorry and want Nigeria to be better. And, even though you don't need to name Peter Obi is the one that won it or Atiku is the one that won it. Just let him say, where I am today is illegitimate and I cannot continue with it. I'm retiring. Let them rerun or do the election again, or let the government or whatever decide. That's fine, to be fair. But if he can do that, to just walk out of that office today, for me, I will forgive him immediately.
Okay, so technically that's still doing that P2B should take over kind of thing, because you are saying he should leave office. I'm saying, what would he do in office?
No, there's nothing he will do in office that make me forgive him. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. How many things? Go ahead.
Listen, one thing you must understand is not about Tinubu. I don't have anything against Tinubu. It's about my country, about our country, right? It's just like some people, they don't know what they're doing right now. They think this whole thing is about Tinubu, Atiku, Peter Obi. That's where you are getting it wrong. It's three of them decided today that they don't want to do anything anymore. And Nigeria still remain like this. It's you and I that is talking here today that will be suffering. It's not going to affect them. These three names are billionaires. You agree with me, right?
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? So I believe some people don't get the reason why we are crying for a better Nigeria. They think it's about Peter Obi or Tinubu or Atiku. No, we are fighting for a leader that we know that can take Nigeria to the next level, not a leader that will continue to sink Nigeria. Check it for the past decades to Nigeria. Nigeria is not getting better; it's getting worse. Just check it. It's not if it was getting better, we can use the word like, oh, by God's grace, we will get there. But it's not getting better. It's getting worse.
Let me put the question back to you. Let me put the question back to you in the same vein. What is it that Tinubu in Nigeria today will do that will make you as a Nigerian in the diaspora say, I'm done, I pack up, I'm going back home?
If he this thing recruits 1 million into the military and create 1 million.
No, 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 no,
Hold
no,
on
no,
now,
no.
hold on now. Let me finish my point, and I will tell you why. See, come on, that you see, these people, you are so
Wait,
skeptical.
which
See,
military? The corrupt military or a new
hold
military?
on now. What do I care about that? Let me explain why I'm saying it. First, if you recruit 1 million to the military, then it recruits 1 million into the police, customs, and the secret service altogether. So if he does that, what that will mean is that he has changed something that has been in place for the last 200 to 300 years in Nigeria that Nigerians have never done as a people. He has changed the security posture of our nation, and people don't understand how significant that is. That is why I would say, for the first time, we've taken charge of our land again, because Oyibo people have been controlling it since that time till now. That's why when they go to the UN, they are begging all the time.
Niger, to Niger.
Yeah.
If Tinubu stole your child and he gave you that, how many million soldiers you say you needed just now?
50 million youth.
50 million. Okay. He will not. No, hold on.
Mm-hmm,
He will not give you 100. You needed 50 million, but he will give you 100 million soldiers. But your child is still with him. Will you forgive him?
I will kill him. Then
Oh, okay.
then
You've
then
answered the
I will
question.
kill him. No, but that is personal. There is a reason why doctors are not allowed to operate on their family members, because you are not objective anymore. So but it doesn't mean it is the right thing for me to
But
kill
Tunaja,
him
did you
and
know how
hate
many
him.
people that have lost their lives since Tinubu came into power?
A lot of people
Are
have
you
lost their
also
lives.
aware this same Mobad that we're talking about right now is the system that failed him? Are you aware?
Those are people that
Yes,
should still be alive.
yes, yeah.
Who
Okay.
is
Are
that?
you
Who is
also
that?
aware? Are you also aware the same diaspora like you and I, many of them visit Nigeria today that we don't even know, because it's not all news we are hearing, that they kidnapped for ransom, and after the ransom and they take their life.
Yes, a lot of them. Why do you think I'm talking
But
about security?
so now, for me, there is nothing all this satanic government will do that they deserve forgiveness.
Uh,
The only
for
thing we need in exchange for us to smile, give us good leader that cares about the people, not about themselves. That's all. Thank you.
If the
Can I
leader
say
cares
something?
about the people and doesn't fix our strategic position, personally, for me, I would still say that leader is a sellout. He has not fixed the country yet. Yeah, things might look good on the surface, but are they? Look at Ghana now. I think there was a time people were saying Ghana was doing well. Ghana has gone bankrupt because
Tunaja,
the
can I
country
say
is not,
something?
the fundamentally is not strong. Go ahead, please.
Please, just to counter something you said. I always agree with you, but on this one, please, if there's anything to be done in that country, if there's anything to be done in that country, two things must be changed permanently. The military must be removed entirely. It is that and that entire, in fact, not just all the forces, police, the
So
army.
you remove it and replace it with what?
There are some countries that operate. We are not at war, and some countries don't even need.
Oh
Most times,
my God!
most, most times, you don't
Maybe
need.
let me kind of let me
Xero,
kind of let me
Xero, you have
see.
committed a
Wait. At least
sacrilegious
the top,
sin.
at least the top brass,
Wow,
the retired.
that is
Leave the
sacrilegious.
young ones. Leave the young
Oh,
ones. They
now
can
you
be
want to leave the
retrained.
young ones, eh?
They can be
See,
retrained.
the
But the top brass should
Hey
be removed.
God.
They
well,
are the reason why Nigeria cannot develop, and that's the reason why. If you look at other countries where the presidents have committed atrocities, there's always coup, but there will never be a coup in your country because they are well fed at the top. Do you
Who
know what?
told
Do
you?
you,
Who
do
told you
you, do you
is?
know the
Hold
last?
on, Xero, calm
Do you
down,
know how
calm
many
down,
weapons they've
calm
donated?
down,
They've donated money for.
calm down.
let me
Which
please
countries are not
to
coming?
Niger,
Yeah. Go ahead.
let me say something here. See, let me just kind of maybe add to what he's saying. Maybe that is his mindset. Maybe he just put it in a different way. Is that, say, there are countries where you can have, say, a country like Nigeria, where you can have what they call the reserve. The reserve can now be 70% of the entire forces, while the active ones will be 30%. So you have your reserve, they are not. So those reserve, they will be there, which means that they can be called upon at any. Yeah, that's what he's trying to say. I don't know. I'm trying to read his mind to some extent. Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to give you. It's not as if they must not
goodness.
be actively. Most of these
Exero, you just finished talking. Let me address the point you made.
Okay.
See, if you all those countries you talk about that have reserve, if you check their active military too, is very, very high. If you check their paramilitary, they are often very high compared to ours as we speak. Like Egypt alone has about 1.3 million this is soldiers, and at least maybe 500,000 or so or less this in what they call reserve, which means their active military is about 4, 5 times more than that of our country already, and their country is half our population. Yeah, they can do that. So what you are saying, you should remove the military. What you don't understand is that security saves more life than doctors. That you see, people don't understand what the real nature of security. Without security, anarchy. All those people in prison, you find out that half of them are crazy. They will be killing innocent people, children, women, all of them. The Boko Haram will seem like they are like charity workers compared to the madness you see in society. So if you don't have order, even your body as an entity has security. The reason why you have a skin, if you remove that skin and remove your white blood cells, you'll be gone. You have to protect any living entity, and societies are a living entity. That's why you see other nations that have more security do better than us.
But tonight, I don't know how.
Europe that doesn't have security. You know that.
Which country?
That's what's this country's name? If I don't, the country has escaped my mind, but I'll
anyways, tonight. See, I don't know how. For me, I don't know how having extending Nigeria military forces will bring about security. If you talk about the police, that's fine. But the military, I don't see any reason why, because Nigeria is not exposed in any shape or form.
Let me explain this.
So,
the police is like the white blood cells, the military is like the skin. They protect the police, they protect the other security infrastructure within the system. The military, it's funny because when I was speaking to somebody in the UK here, he works in the defense industry, and he used a term, and I didn't bring it up. He said the military is like the immune system of the country. So he used that term, immune system. And I already knew that, I already saw the military like that before. It's just that we don't understand these things. We just see the military because all we see is Koboko. All we see is military doing bad things to us. We don't understand.
That's what they show every time.
Yeah, because that is not what military is supposed to be. Those militaries are not proper militaries.
Thank
If
you.
you see proper militaries, they are meant to save lives. Sometimes they take lives to save lives. That is the purpose of military. Their job is actually to save lives. The reason why you have civilization that you have today is because of military. Without military, there's no civilization. Everything will crumble.
I agree with you. That same military, a military that knows what it's doing. This one is guiding pipelines and siphoning oil from left, right, and center, and enriching itself. Why the people who are actually doing the job under they're suffering?
It's a stress military. They are designed to treat us like chattel. That's what
there are two parts to the analysis you've just made now. The military. When you talk about the military, you can have what we are talking about is about professional military, where they are all professionally based military. See, it is not about having 2 million standing force when you are not, as in your country is exposed. If you say a country like Ukraine now need 5 million standing force, even if you say a country like Ukraine need half of their citizens to be in the military, fine, because they are just by the side of their enemy anytime, any day. So they need it. A country like Nigeria does not need 5 million standing force.
We don't have enemy here.
No, we do. What I'm saying that we do. But Nigeria does not have. Nigeria is not positioned in a geographically where a country can launch attack like within 1 hour. Like they can march into Nigeria.
But the military can. I think you are looking at the
However,
military.
however,
Okay, go ahead.
if say for example, a country like Benin, country like Togo, they all of a sudden they become so militarily strong to a point where Nigeria is vulnerable, then it becomes imperative that Nigeria have to consider that. But when you look at it now, you look at Nigeria, you look at Benin, you look at Togo, you look at Niger, and you look at Chad and Cameroon. Those are the countries. Those countries does not pose any immediate military threats to Nigeria to the point where Nigeria will need 2 million or 3 million standing force. We don't need that. But there could come a time when that could be necessary based on circumstances around you.
I
However,
think. Okay,
to
hold
have
on.
okay.
Okay, well, yeah, I think you are looking at military based on just next door neighbor as a threat. Clearly, the next door neighbor is already a threat to us because there are French soldiers in Niger Republic, there are French soldiers in Benin Republic, and there are French soldiers in Cameroon. They are a threat. Clearly, people didn't know that before now. If I had said this maybe 3 months ago, people would say, "What are you talking about? They're not a threat to anybody." But now people know because when this Nigerian regime asked the 1,500 French soldiers to leave, they refused to leave. Their own the country that is not even their own, they refuse to leave. Can you force them? Go and force them. Then you know what power truly means. So what that tells you is that the threat is everywhere. These days, it's not whether they are your next door neighbors. They can come from the sky, they can come from anywhere. And not to mention the ones we are dealing with in the country. We have to deny them space. What is happening is that you can get the best intelligence, but before the military gets there, they are done and gone. Sometimes they even ambush the military for good measure and kill them. So I've seen the national security advisor of Nigeria. I can share the video. He literally confessed we can't protect Nigeria's border. Then he went on to say for us we can't do that. The question I ask is why does he say for us we cannot be able to do that? Is there anything restricting Nigeria from being able to defend itself? That the colonial powers are the ones that are supposed to do our security? I don't know why he said that because clearly we have 200 million people. We can defend ourselves, but we are using about 0.5% of our population to secure the country, while Israel is using 7% or so. Singapore is using over 10% of their population. They are involved in the military.
Those countries you are mentioning, those countries you mentioned, those are exactly what I said earlier. They have a very high percentage of reserve. Israel has a very high percentage of reserve, not standing force, but they have reserve.
Oh my God, they have standing force.
Let me say something.
Can I say something, please?
Hold on, brother. You talk. A military whose Air Force attacks the soldiers on ground, there's something wrong with that military. A military a military that says they owe their allegiance to the president, not to the people. There's something wrong with that military. That's why I said what I said. This military is seriously compromised and are leading us in some section of the military. I will not say all of them because they are very good Nigerian soldiers. They are very, very good ones. There are some of them who have come out to say, listen, we have a problem. We have been infiltrated. What are we doing to solve that problem? Who is going to solve that problem? The military is compromised as of today. That means we are being led into darkness. They are so compromised that they would allow any corrupt leader or leadership to continue as long as their own side of the bargain is achieved. That's why I said the military, the top brass, I think, must have to go.
No, you could fire as much as you want.
In a same country, when the leadership goes rogue, it is the military that comes to save the country and puts them back into proper democracy. Who is going to save us?
Israel has about 170,000 active military. Compared to Nigeria, they are about 13 million, isn't it? Their population, and Nigeria is 200 million, and they have more active soldiers than Nigeria. And if you could take their reserve into account, the total is going to.
Oh, come on! Look at what Israel is. Israel is surrounded by enemies.
Yeah, but it's a smaller country too. But my
Yeah,
point is that
but they're surrounded by people who want
but
to
we are
wipe them out.
surrounded by enemies too. That it's
Yeah,
just your
we every neighbor is a potential enemy. Don't get that twisted.
we
But
are okay. How about
Israel,
Singapore? How about
No,
Singapore then?
Let
but
me
Israel
come
is
in.
surrounded by people who want to remove them from the face of the earth.
Okay, how about Singapore? How
Let
do you
me
explain that?
let me say something, please.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I've been listening to the conversation. I'm just jumping in because of this military thing. I think, yeah, I agree with to Niger to a large extent that the number of military personnel we have, in all honesty, is not okay for 200 million people, and that's just that. But I don't think we should compare Israel with Nigeria, because Israel is surrounded by countries that don't want them to exist, to the extent that if you even have Israeli visa in your passport, you can't even go to those countries that surround Israel. That's how bad it is. To the extent that Israel cannot play football with this nation. Israel has to play football with Europe. That's how bad it is. The Israeli National League, they don't play with the Middle Eastern people. They play with Europeans, even their World Cup qualification and everything. So we can't use the situation in Israel to compare what's going on in Nigeria. But having said that, like I posited earlier, increasing the size of our military, it's not something we should even debate about. It really needs to be increased. It's too small. Our military is too small for the size of our country. But however, I don't think that's the major problem we are having today. The major problem I think we are having today is that the military, like as Cyril was saying, is already too over compromised. If you look at the recruitment process in the first place, do we give opportunity for the best people to come in? Or if not the best people, do we give opportunity for at least 70% of the people that comes into the military are the best? We don't. We just select people the way we want to select. We use quota system, tribalism, ethnicity, religion to select all manner of people in the military. And just look at what we've been doing for the past 8 years. This Operation Safe Corridor, where Boko Haram members that are not vetted.
You are muted. I think your audio is gone. Or is it me? Yeah, his audio it seems to have
No, his
gone.
audio is gone.
Yeah, so UAE, a country of 9 million, has a sizable military too. The thing is that even small countries, Switzerland, even Switzerland, that is supposed to be like peacenik, is one of the most militant country going. The problem our people, we don't understand security. We think security is a bad thing because these colonial powers, when they were in Nigeria, they use military as a way of just controlling us, and the tradition that and the structure that they created for our military, by and large, remains intact. Even our legal system. Look at the way our judges talk down to us, wearing that their headgear that makes them look ridiculously European, and they talk down to black people with that headgear. And that's what you see in the military too. Normal militaries, the larger the military, the harder it is to plan coup in that military, because all you need is one general to say no. You have a civil war on your hand. So you see, and because of that, the default leader succeeds and remains in office. This is why all the BB countries in around the world, civilians are able to run them. Even Putin is not military. Because you can't. Look at when Wagner tried to go after Putin, he failed because all you need is one general to say no, and then you'll be in trouble, big time. And that's what we don't understand. Even the Niger coup that occurred, if you look at how long it took them to name a leader, it took a while. Even Nigeria, when Buhari came to office, it took a while to name him because they need to talk to everybody. Another example of to show you when you have a sizable military, how hard it is to plan a coup. It was with the Turkish leader state when there was a coup. I think not very long ago, about 5-10 years ago, there was a coup in Turkey and he failed because to communicate with the orders of the coup leader, and this coup was thoroughly planned, but yet he failed because just one error. There was a breakaway unit that will go and secure the president. And once they secure the president, the game is over. You lose. And that's what we miss about size of military. We think you increase the size, you increase coup. That's not
But
the case.
we need to restore power back to who power belongs. And to Nigeria, I hope you know who power truly belongs to in Nigeria.
To the people.
Thank you. There should be that order.
It's very clear. The people are sovereign. The people have to be the ultimate power in the country.
Exactly. They should be retaught. There's something they call, they should relearn how to give power to the people. You don't chastise the people. You don't beat the people.
That is the purpose of the military. The purpose of the military to preserve life of citizens. The moment they miss that, they've lost their primary purpose.
And they have missed that entirely. The military is like
most of our people, our military has proven themselves to have been corrupted by their even their leadership is corrupted. So
the leadership is so corrupt. The young cadets stop. Cadets can cause a traffic from Third Mainland Bridge to Benin City. Cadets. That's how dangerous that outfit is.
That's something we that's one thing we need to restore. We need to restore the military to their primary
That's why I say the military is, they just need to, because in the military you find, like in Europe here, you see in the military you find psychologists, you find doctors. In peacetime, military, they are redeployed into construction, into firefighting, into other things, other services. This our own we have in Nigeria are just in peace times, it's roadblock to punish people's parents and tell them to do frog jump and hit their boots.
Frog jump.
That frog jump business, this thing is, you don't know how menacing it is. You cannot go to your business. You cannot wear certain uniform, or you cannot wear camouflage. You cannot do certain things. You cannot say certain things. You see,
they make it almost like a cult.
They make it like a cult.
Yeah, that was exactly what I mentioned, earlier, talking about military reserve. When you talk about professionalism, that in time of peace, you can deploy them. Take, for example, now, if doctors in Nigeria decides to go on strike, the federal government can call the military reserves and they can come in and do this. And, so when there is this flood, in some area, they can bring in the reserve. So the reserve is the military is not only about you can have them in numbers.
Very, very
but you need to have a professionalized, what Nigeria needs is a professionalized military. That's what we need. So most of these countries that you see, that you talked about in Europe or even in Asia, the reason why they have strong force, a standing force, is you go back to history. You see, most of these countries have faced war in the past, and those threats are not fully, eradicated. Those threats are still standing. Mention any Central European country.
Hold on. See, that's the thing that gives me trust issues.
Yeah.
You forget that our forefathers were enslaved and colonized, and you see, we forget that. We think only them have
guys,
trouble.
my system got frozen. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead with your submission.
No, I don't even know. It was when I finished I realized that nobody was talking. I don't even know the last thing.
Sorry about that. Let's just assume we all agree with you.
To Nigeria, just to add to that, in this part, you don't see the military at all. They don't come out. You only see them when they are going back from their missions to their homes,
because they've done their job so well that they can disappear.
Exactly. And they don't go ahead with working.
Can I just interject to say, regarding the military, to be honest, I feel the military, from what I'm seeing presently, they are just there to protect the elites and their own interest.
Exactly.
So that they can continue to loot a whole nation of over 200 million people.
Exactly. They don't provide for their budget for fueling.
Yeah.
So how do they
I think I gathered that sometimes they even give them an oil well so that as a kind of way of, I think, kind of cloaking the funding of the military for special activities. So, but
Look,
the reason why they do this sort of thing, the military, yes, they are corrupt, but we all have to remember there are people sacrificing their lives every day trying to keep the country safe. If they were not there, if you pull them out, you'll be shocked what you see. Humanity is not
some of them are sacrificing their life. Why some of them are shooting them from the air? That's what is happening.
exactly those
That's what is
ones.
happening.
Those ones that are not doing the right thing, you're always going to have them. Even in the Western media, you have all those people that don't serve anything. But it shouldn't stop you from doing the necessary thing that, let's say you need to increase the size of the military, you have to do it to an international standard at least. Personally, I think we should even be more paranoid because we have so much to protect. We have so many resources, and
Of course.
there's a lot of incentive to come and steal it from us. So we have to protect it.
And
You know,
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
mm. So
The,
that
the,
that yeah,
the
go ahead.
military, the military in Nigeria, you see, they are corrupt, and the politicians dread them so much to the point where you look at Nigerian budget. Just take 2015 to 23, Buhari's tenure. Look at Nigeria. The defense has always been number two on the total expenditure of the military budget. It's always from like 1.2 trillion to
Mm,
2.2 trillion. We check the Nigerian budget. The defense budget it ranks number two.
mm,
Number two. There are instances where it even rank number one. But I know during that 8-year period, all along, the defense budget ranked two. And that's what they use to pacify them. When they come, it is just take a bow.
and and
The
and,
chief of staff will just take a bow. It
And
will
what
not.
did that guy,
and
what did he do with the money?
It
Buratai.
means it will not defend the budget, and they have padded it up. So
They
they
say
are
he
that,
was chief
and they
of
want.
armory for some years. That
Yeah,
Buratai guy. He was chief of armory for some years, and under him, a lot of money got wasted or got missing. And that was the period where Boko Haram was taking armored tanks from the military. So how were these things happening? No
I think
wonder we don't. No wonder we don't have anything in that country anymore.
yeah. The thing is, when you look at the way the military spending has gone, if you look at it, it's still chicken change compared to even Israeli military budget or that of
Oh, come on now.
the
We
or
are
of
not the same with
Egypt.
Israel now.
See
Even if
why?
we, if
See, hold on. We live in the same world. Why we? Why would you? My point is that what you are getting is what you are paying for. That's all I'm
Baba,
trying to
Baba,
remind you.
Baba, Baba, you know how many countries are throwing missiles at Israel at the same time?
How about
And Israel
Egypt
is
then?
using
How about
they are
Egypt?
using their anti-missile forces to demob them. At the same time, I saw one video I saw of Israel, the surrounding neighbors attacking Israel. If you see how many rockets I saw at the same time, at the same
Yeah,
time. Man, no, don't compare. If you want to compare Nigeria with
Israel
any
has
country,
200 and something F-16 aircraft. Nigeria doesn't even have one. And how about Egypt? Egypt has about, how about Algeria? Algeria has about 30 something million people, and they
these
have
countries are
700 and
serious
something.
countries. They are serious countries.
They are not serious. They are just people that are doing the right thing by their people. They are protecting their children,
Exactly.
their women. But why are our people not doing it?
What? That's the question. That's the question.
And yeah,
Why was there a seeming cultish behavior when Buhari was there and the military were just
I,
quiet?
I am
It's like
almost
they were teaming
convinced.
up against the people.
See, have you heard about the French colonial pact that they have with African countries that they used to keep the francophone countries down? I am almost 100% convinced there is something within whatever arrangement our leaders had with the British when they were leaving that kept many African countries under defended because it's uniform. Like if you come to sub-Saharan Africa, most of the countries, like 90% of the countries are under defended for whatever reason. That's abnormally compared to the
Mm,
rest of the world. It's
yeah.
abnormal. So why is that the case? And we say it's only the francophone countries, and it was because that lady Arikana, Dr. Arikana, she was the one that came out to reveal, yeah, to reveal what is happening with the French countries. But nobody has revealed what is happening with the Anglo countries like Nigeria. Something is going on. There's a reason why we are not as secure as other nations, because we are relying on foreign powers to secure us. So sooner or later, maybe that secret will come out.
Is the colonialism never stopped? Colonialism never stopped.
It really never stopped.
That's why when we are discussing our problems, I always tell people, remember the external forces. They will be like, no, our problem is internal. Your problem is more external than internal. If these guys don't have validation from the colonial masters, they won't be treating you with levity.
Exactly. That's what I've always said.
I remember
it has always been my opinion that our situation, our problem needs to be looked at a macro level,
Yes.
At a macro level.
It's a holistic problem.
No matter the intent of our political elites, even if they want to do good, the will to do good will be greatly subverted by the will of the international so-called taskmasters.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So for me, I feel on a greater understanding of the machinations of these people, understanding how they think, how they roll, will help us to be able to defend ourselves. It will help us to know who to go to, who should be our allies. It will help us because as a nation and as a continent, on our own, we cannot fight the forces that are out there. We need that kind of alliance. That is how I see it. So it is to identify those nations that we can form good, positive, great alliances with that will benefit us as well. We know that it is definitely going to benefit the other nation, but as long as it benefits us too, because right now it is not benefiting us. Our alliances with the present macro elites is not benefiting us. Let us identify the other macro elites that relationships with will benefit us, defend us, and keep us safe. They are coming to tell us that they are bringing soldiers to come and secure our borders. But instead, it has been worse since they came.
You see how Sin TV is saying one drone can wipe out 100,000 soldiers. That's why we're not able to wipe out Taliban that was carrying donkeys all over the place. Yeah, these people, they don't understand. They think human beings are stupid. Human beings are just going to stand out in the open for drones to come and kill them. You think that's how it works?
I wanted to say something to prove further what she just said, Buzi or something. You see, when we understand that the problem are coming from external forces who connive, who in alliance with our leaders foist problems, stress upon us, the citizens, and then weaken the military or co-opt the military, that the military cannot fight for you, the citizens, because their paymasters determine their behavior. We are at the lowest ebb. We are weakened, we are impoverished, and our rights have been trampled upon. That's why I always say our best bet is to continue the NSAS protest. We cannot stop. They cannot kill all of us.
But X0, you are a young man, technically, from looking at you. Hold on now. No. The reason why I'm saying that for a different reason. But you referred to the British. I take it that's what you're referring to as masters.
Yes.
Where did you get that from? Who gave you
let me
that
tell you.
information?
Yeah, let me tell you how I got that. I will tell you something. What normally happens when they are opening their jaws to devour you. This is what normally happens. They open their doors for your citizens to run in, so that they can continue pillaging you. And
no, I mean, where did you get the term? They use that term.
What term is that?
That the colonial masters, you call them masters, because I would have thought so. Somebody this young will say, "Oh, you call them British or this in a European or white or something." But to call them masters, it seems like something that comes from, because they don't even call themselves that. They will not dare to call themselves masters of anybody.
Exactly. They don't even. Sometimes they forget to use these terms because over time these terms they change. from the colonialists, we had the neo-colonialists, and we have what we have today, which are the local stooges. But why I call them colonial masters is because I recognize the fact that they never left. They just changed modus operandi.
But they
And
were never masters.
let me tell you let me tell you why they refer to as masters. They are masters because it was the way it was masters they were referred to as when they were here. And I'm just using that because I don't think anything changed. If you look at Nigeria in 1960s, from the pictures you see in the 1960s to 1970s to the pictures you see today, you see that those pictures didn't change to better infrastructure. Rather, they became those buildings like the Ibadan television house became dilapidated. Nigeria has not
Yeah,
improved
but
from when they left.
just because it hasn't improved, if you in your mind subconsciously and even not consciously choose to
Mhm.
call another woman's husband, and maybe their children will hear you calling them masters in this day and
Mhm.
age, that is
Mhm.
putting you in a weaker position, in a subservient position. That's where you are putting
Okay,
yourself.
that's what you meant. No, I'm just using it because that's what we know them as in our own local parlance. If I want to refer to them, I call them imperialists. But it is still what it is.
Then
They were
why
never
then
left. That's the
you
idea.
should call them that, like imperialists.
Okay,
That's perfectly
okay,
reasonable,
okay,
this thing.
okay,
Because
okay. So
okay,
they
go ahead.
never left, and the reason why I suspect that they are back to they're almost
Sorry,
coming
can
back
I
to their
can I can
old.
I interject? Can I interject Xero?
Yeah,
Um,
Okay,
to me, Oga to Niger, I
yeah,
think the mentality of our own people suggests and still sees these people as masters.
yes,
The way we relate with them, I dislike it when a Nigerian is shown on CNN, the way they will loud it. I dislike it when
yeah.
the way they are always looking for validation from this
It's
so-called
crazy, isn't
people.
it? It's
So
really
it is the
crazy.
way they seek the validation that continues to make us subservient to them, and hence
Mm.
the word master.
It's really sad because
So
the other day Abati was complaining on TV that, oh, why are these wicked people always running to America, UK to go and have meetings? Why are they not having meetings in Nigeria? The money that they are spending in the hotel, they can pay to Nigerian this thing. Then him, just a few days ago, this lady was in the front of the UN building in America. When he wanted to talk to her, I said, "Oh, yeah, this lady in America." You need to see his face, how his face lit up. Then when he finished asking, I said, when you finish, go and look around. That city has a lot of nice things. It's like,
you
oh
see,
my
there
no,
God,
is still that
our
mental
mindset.
slavery. There is still that
yeah,
mental slavery.
yeah, yeah.
That is why subconsciously we are still calling them masters, because
But
everything they do we glorify. The moment they say give us a little bit of validation, look at when they mention us in on what are those international music? What's their music? Those cultish
MTV,
things.
listen,
Grammy,
MTV,
Grammys.
Grammy,
Grammy.
When
yeah,
they call
Grammy,
us
yeah,
for Grammys, you will hear how we shake, we shout as if it is. Can you
for
imagine?
trinkets, for
We do not
trinkets.
But
glorify our
Buzi,
own
let me tell
head
you
is the
something.
way when
Buzi,
our own head is, we don't glorify it like that. If
Buzi.
when they give us Grammy, they will now think we have arrived. Why do we need
Yeah,
them to validate us?
Buzi,
not
let
at
me tell you
all.
something. Even me and you that are talking here, it's only a few things we didn't copy from these guys. It's only a few things. Let's just be sincere.
Of course,
All
of
our
course.
women, almost 90% of our women are putting on wigs. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's start from there. Let me just
that week one, me, I still I struggle to fully understand it. I really struggle.
let me start unleashing the
And it's a
dragon.
huge business. It's in billions.
Mm.
Yes, we want to. Our women want to be like them.
That thing is strong in our
The
women,
thing
man.
is,
That
the
is the
mentality
mental slavery there. But
yeah.
Mm.
they've made us,
Almost
but
all our women are.
see now,
That's
but
just
there's a
one.
rise. But let us acknowledge
Oh,
there's a rise now. People
but,
appreciating their natural hair. I've got two young
oh,
daughters. In
we will
fact, they
get there. We will get
glorify
there.
their natural hair, which
We
made
will
me
get
so
there,
happy.
Boozy. But I just want
Can
to.
I hear what she's saying? That you were saying something about natural hair and buzzy
Yeah,
brain.
I said right now we have to also acknowledge that there's a rise for the appreciation of our own natural hair, our nappy hair, as some people would call it. And for a mom of two girls, I am so happy that they have embraced that natural hair, because when they were much younger, my child came back from school crying, asking why doesn't she have long hair like the other white girls in her class. You can imagine depression for me at that time. So you can nobody even needed to tell her. On her own, she felt that she needed to look like them, like to have that hair. But
The
now
pressure.
exactly. So, but now it is just God and the acceptance. There's a wave going on right now of the natural hairs. There are different ways that people are now making use of natural hair, that it is a thing to behold. But with this wig business, it has gone to it is stratospheric. It is big business, and it is something that people are pushing. 1 week, if you are going to go with bone straight, it will do foundation for you. It will buy you a car. Just 1 week that
It's some
somebody
crazy stuff, man.
on
How
the hair.
do you understand the competitive advantage that European women have over our women when our women spend so much money and time and effort only on their hair?
But
While
then you have to also look at it. How our brothers looking at it? Most especially, I can categorically tell you that a lot of the brothers, the moment they enter Obodo Yubo, it is like a virtue thing. They want to hit one Oyubo woman and keep. And I have been in places where you will see the brother looking puffed up because he has one Oyubo ratchet girl on his arm. Thinking he has arrived.
Oh God.
That also makes your sisters feel that that is the look that they need to go for.
They gotta get the
but there's another dimension to this, Bossy. See, if you look at it from the point of view that women generally educate children from almost 0 to 5 years, and the imprinting that the children have, most of all those things is subconscious than what people say. If it depends on what you show them. If you show them, like many of our women now go on wearing this foreign hair, then you wonder why they go and crave the original when they see them. If you don't show them another way to live, another way to appreciate stuff, which is a very, very powerful tool, where you have because reproductive desirability is very, very important for life. And if you disadvantage your own group by promoting some other group's features, then your children go and do that. Then you find that let's say the male children go and do that. You find that the women go and copy what the male children go and desire. Then you have this vicious circle going on right now, where you have the women saying, "Oh, the men like it," and the men say, because most of the men I know, I don't see any of them demanding that the women should wear wig. And see, one of let me show you to let you know how powerful this stuff is.
Let me explain to you. The men will not demand necessarily, but if two sisters are going, if the one that wears the bone straight and the one that wears natural, the brother will look at this one with bone straight and call the one with bone straight. There is a way that they will differentiate the treatment of one who has packaged. Maybe it might not end up in a marital situation, but the attention, the gratification, the glorification of one that looks or tries to look like have westernized look. You can even look at it. A woman with westernized features will be carried, will be snapped up quickly before the one with your African features. For those living in America, I'm sure you will look at it. I mean, it is more prevalent there, where you see that the colorist, there is even amongst black people, there is even another thing again called colorist, where somebody who is fairer is seen has more advantage, which is ridiculous.
Exactly.
Ridiculous. So
It's conditioning. It's our conditioning that has gotten us to this mess. Because when I spoke to a northerner the other day, I asked him about the beauty standard that they had. It turns out that it was an Arabic woman. I'm like, that is not a good idea. You're supposed to be putting your women as the beauty standard, not other groups, women.
Somebody is asking on the comment section, if somebody has been to Auntie Fumi's salon in West Hampstead, they want to know whether the price
Yeah,
of
that West Hampstead is an expensive area. I won't be too shocked, and I think that would be fair. I wouldn't call it fair. Zero price is fair. It's not fair. Not to mention it, they shouldn't wear it.
The Auntie
So
Fumi, is it Auntie Fumi? Is that you? Is it your shop that you are writing? Because I can see
yeah,
Auntie
don't mind that
Fumi.
now. She's there promoting her shop
1,500,
and asking questions.
1,500 pounds.
You will see someone even selling it for more than the 1,005. You will be
Oh my God.
amazed. You will be
But that thing
amazed.
is annoying to me because I don't understand why somebody would staple something on their head.
See,
Yes.
Zero. That means you won't give your woman money to go and buy wig. Be that means they will run away from you.
there,
It's
there was
fake now.
there was this video that I saw about just to give you an idea of what happens with desirability. There was this video I saw about romance desire saying that all prostitutes in their town should wear blonde hair because they desired black hair because they are black haired people, isn't it? So they said all prostitutes in the town should be wearing blonde hair. But according to one guy, say get that as if you cannot see that coming. Sexuality tied to blonde hair. Guess what? Over time, blonde hair is the most desirable feature that they too became addicted to. So because the young men will grow up, what do you think young men think about? They want to be with women all the time. And
Of
are
course.
the women going to look like with blonde hair?
Yeah.
And this thing, if you condition because it affects people subliminally, the Lord
Yes, you
wasn't
can
meant
see.
for that.
Imagine when our black sisters go to buy these wigs, they are getting blonde too. A black woman with blonde hair.
You are programming your men to literally desire blonde women. That's what
But
you are doing.
to Niger, the wig example I gave is just one out of a million things that we
Yeah,
were
that's just one. That's just one.
brainwashed into. Like if you recall when you were growing up, I think your parents also wanted you to be either an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer. Those are
Yeah.
colonialist education. You know that the educational system has not been touched or retouched or upgraded or updated in Nigeria. It's still
Yes,
the
yeah,
way
it
it is.
hasn't been updated
Mungo
more.
Park, Mungo Park still discovered Nigeria, and that's how it is. And so many things. So imagine the leadership we have, they are from this era. They don't know better. They understand that if they get wealth, they should stash it somewhere for them and their family because that is all they know. And you are the slaves, or let me not use that word, but I'll say you are their servants, because that's how they were to this white imperialists when they were colonizing them. And that is how they see you. Don't forget that at old age you cannot change. Imagine Tinubu, you know how many years he has been he has been alive for like ever since the country existed. That's all he knows. And the set of people that have led us are of this mindset. They cannot understand the idea of democratizing wealth, spreading it. Look
Yeah.
at the other leaders. They are of the Rakadede set. They cannot understand anything other than fiefdom, or what was that system of
Caliphate.
leadership? Exactly, where everyone else is their servant. That is what we have. That's why I used to say the only thing that befits that country now is the NSAS behavior. You need to pull it out by all means. You
I
need to
think
pull it out.
if you want to do that, you have to have a cause that is not only supported by one section of the country. It has to be
Thank you.
mostly universal. Because the systems are quite different in the south and the north. So if you want to change the country, you have to look at something that is universal to the country, and you'll find that you are going to succeed. Because the truth is, our leaders, they do listen when they see that the mob wants to get out there and do something, because they know full well it's their fault. The country is not that secure. They don't have enough soldiers. They don't have enough police to man
It's
the
called
country.
it's called
Can I ask
self-preservation.
though? Can I ask though? You see, and the way the country is going, I don't know what kind of revolution we are going to be able to have, because the power dynamics, that is in terms of ammunition power dynamics, resides with the politicians, because they've got the military and the law enforcement apparatus behind them.
Again,
In the event of any revolution, it means we are just going for a slaughter.
thank
For
you.
Oh
so
no, they won't be able to slaughter. The reason why I say that is because they don't have the numbers.
They're
If
not,
the whole
no, they're
country,
not
if
much.
the whole country rises up, you saw what happened with the NSAS. NSAS, see, we forget the NSAS people
but
got
they
everything
quelled
that they wanted.
NSAS. They quelled it.
They quelled it after they've already granted everything the NSAS people wanted, because they knew if those the what the NSAS people were asking for, if they didn't give it to them, those people, the righteous ones that came out at first for NSAS, were willing to die, and they were going to cause a whole heap of problems. So they granted them everything. The ones that refused to go away after they've been given everything, that wanted to shift it to another argument about removing Buhari from office, that's the one. That's where the thing went too far, and because they were breaking prisons, they were breaking into prisons. This stuff went on for weeks.
Yeah.
But
So
then
that's what
again,
got it
but
under
then
control.
again, right now the revolution right now is that we don't want what is going on. We don't want
Yeah,
who they've selected
with
for us.
respect,
So it's still
yeah,
going to be the same. That is the same thing we are fighting at the
yeah,
end of
But
the
with
was
day.
it,
regard,
that was why I said that somebody's echoing. That's why I said our military has to be, the top brass have to be removed, because they are the problem in different countries. When the citizens are not satisfied and there's visible, if the country has visibly turned to a failed state, the military takes over and then returns the country to
But
a
why would you
civilian
blame
rule.
the military though? Because they don't
with
have the numbers.
with
They
respect to your
no, no,
question,
they are not.
yeah,
They're not moral. They don't have a good moral standing, because if they do, Nigeria has been overdue for this realignment or whatever. You know, Nigeria's democracy is not working. The state is failed, and once the state is failed, the military takes over and returns the country to proper democracy. Somebody is echoing.
We've had military before, and I think it's Jonathan. We have military before. They didn't go on to fix the country. They don't necessarily do it. You just have to be lucky to get the right military leader or the right democratic leader to do the right thing. Good government is good government. It doesn't matter whether it's capitalist, communist. I don't have the luxury for that. I don't have the luxury of economic systems. I don't have the luxury of political systems. I don't have the luxury of who did it, what's gender. And all. I just want our nation to be fixed. And I think people should be more focused on that. Because when people are getting kidnapped, they can't go to farm, they can't do anything. People, the fear of crime is even higher than the actual crime rate in Nigeria. So people are scared all the time. Shops are closing earlier. Business in other countries, business can go on for 24 hours. Nigeria, they avoid that. They
Like
can't
that,
operate.
one question to you. One question to you. We just let's say what the previous president did was not bad enough. What's the worst thing that can happen to a country is when you have a president that is that is not accepted, illegitimate. What is the worst thing that can happen? What is the
Um,
worst thing that can happen?
no, it's not the worst thing. The president is not this is accepted. See, countries sometimes they don't even have leaders for months and they can function fine. It's not about whether they are not accepted that is going to be the worst thing. It's whether the country improves, the environment. Sometimes we actually think leaders make a big difference in a country's
Oh,
life.
they do.
I'm
Oh,
not.
they do.
See,
They do.
sometimes they can, but in the case of Nigeria, can you necessarily say they made a big difference? I'm not so sure.
No.
The trajectory remains the same. So and even in Western countries, you see that too. The individual leadership, they don't. Yeah, there's a little bit of change, in moving of the furniture, but large everything remains the same. So, but it's the environment that is the one that makes a bigger impact. What we are seeing in the improvement of things, I believe there will be real, actual, measurable improvement we are going to see. In other words, it's not even going to get worse. It's not likely to get worse in the near future, except Tinubu managed to completely destroy everything that this in Buhari put in place in terms of the refineries and this is it's basically the refineries and to be fair, Buhari also did a lot of investment in power infrastructure that is not going to be completed until he left office. So all those things are happening now because they ordered for Siemens, parts and like the way the Egyptians did, but
No,
it's
but
not.
those the Siemens deal. I think it appears that you didn't listen to the Siemens argument when
No, I
Chimamanda
didn't.
was actually in Germany. She specifically asked the vice chancellor of Germany that when Siemens, when we all heard that Siemens was coming to fix Nigerian electricity, that everyone was happy that yes, finally we got him. Don't forget that this guy, the guy that was Buhari's PA, died trying to get that deal done.
Yeah.
So the chancellor told Chimamanda, she said, the deal is not yet on the table because sometimes when you are doing these deals, there are arrangements as per if it is going to be 60-40 or 70-30, and it comes to the technology itself, technology transfer, the labor and everything. It appears that what the Siemens people wanted was about a 70-30 arrangement, and it's going to be at the expense of Nigeria. They're going to be
So
benefiting.
they take 70 and we keep 30.
They are
Yes,
say
something like that.
Xero. See,
Yeah.
don't let us and to Niger the electricity thing because I wanted to comment on the revolution thing, but now that the
Okay.
conversation has shifted to this arrangement with Siemens and electricity in
we keep
Nigeria,
shifting and keep
yeah,
shifting it whenever you are coming
let me dwell on that. See, don't let us fall into that trap that the majority of Nigerians that are in Nigeria, that they fall into easily, which is the lies and the propaganda of the Nigerian state. There is the deal between Nigeria and Siemens. What kills it is corruption from the Nigerian side. It is not rocket science. Please let us know that. In Nigeria, any deal that Nigerian government has with any external party, it is always an arrangement between that party, that external country, and some group of people in Nigeria, though they will label it Nigeria. The agreement and the negotiation will be tagged between that country and Nigeria until when some individuals, some group of people get what they want from that deal is not moving forward. And that is the endemic nature of the corruption that we have in Nigeria. It is worse than what we are even talking. What we are doing here is even like we're just is an understatement. We can't even state it the way it is. How rotten it is. What is it in the deal with Siemens? It is all the same all around with other deals that Nigeria have entered into. It is not rocket science. Anybody can go into this deal
but some of
and
the
get it
parts
done.
have started arriving in Nigeria, but we'll see what happens.
And see, we can wait till all we like. It's not going to happen because part of the money involved, some people have already siphoned it. The money has been budgeted. Go and look into that budget. I made a scenario some few weeks ago or about a month on this platform a while ago. I said when money is budgeted for any project in Nigeria, whether local projects or external projects, all they wait for is for the last quarter of the year. Now this is September. By the time it is October, you see all those money that are not expended from that budget, they will siphon it. Because by law, by the extant law, by December 31st, those money goes back. It leaves the parastatal, it leaves the agency, it leaves the ministry, whoever. You don't have any right over that money again. They will siphon the money, and that's what they wait for. They deliberately frustrate the process, frustrate the project till this time of the year. And they will siphon that money with Siemens, the counterpart funding of Nigeria has been budgeted and it is no longer there.
So this present administration have to the next, if they want it, they have to rebudget it again.
See, let me say something. Let me see. Hold on. Let me just say something about this power thing. I'm just looking at information about Siemens. See, this stuff just kills me. And see, Nigerians, they don't know what is going on. See, look at what Siemens has done now. They were supposed to revamp the Nigerian power structure, infrastructure by 2025. Now they've come out and say it will be delayed by 5 years. These things are to maintain us in a perpetual state of developing country. We are always trying to develop. But that same Siemens company did it for Egypt very, very quickly. And our leaders keep signing on to this rubbish. Why don't you just go to China? China is building 10 times more than the US. China is using more concrete, 10 times more. They use more concrete in 1 year than America used in the last 10 years. And yet Nigerians keep running to these Western companies that want to keep us underdeveloped. This is what they do. Oh,
I told you that.
They will say 2025. Not 2025 anymore. Let's add 5 years. They will do it until they come and recolonize us or wipe us out.
Exactly.
These are our useless leaders.
Imagine what 5 years would do. That's too long.
Exactly. Why do we always have to go to these people? Why not just go to China? China, they don't have power failure. And China knows how to build fast. Just go to China and just have them rebuild the entire thing.
I just listened to the question again. The Chimamanda asked the vice chancellor, the then vice chancellor, and she said it had a lot to do with funding. That most times the country was expecting Siemens to bring all the funding, but Siemens was expecting the country to bring some part of the funding so that they will come with their equipment and their expertise and start work. That was where the problem was. Nigeria didn't have enough equity to get the loan. So you could understand why the one that is silent now, Mr. Amechi, was going to sign loans that he doesn't understand the language.
There is always excuses. They will always have one excuse or the other to stop anything they are doing with us. This is always like that. But Egypt gets their own. I don't know why our leaders keep signing up to these stupid deals. There are some
somebody was signing loan arrangements without fully comprehending the language the deal was written on.
Imagine.
Because by signing an agreement with an external party, it is money in the bank for the minister, for the Senate committee,
and it also helps that you worship a god that looks like them, and you call them masters when you are sleeping, and so how can you end in a boardroom with them and actually choose to read the document properly? These people are already compromised, and this is why we have this lack of development, because our leaders sign terrible deals on our behalf.
Yeah, when you see Nigerian government, or when I say Nigerian government, now of course it's made up of people. They are not masquerades, they are people. When you see Nigerian government officials standing in front of the camera, in front of the whole world, signing an agreement with one country or one entity or the other, see, it is all a lie. It is primarily what is in it for them, what they are going to get. And that is the problem that we have to deal with, first of all, in Nigeria. Because any party, anybody that is coming to Nigeria, they will sign the agreement, fine. But when the reality begins to set in, when those people will come to Nigeria, it's a different ballgame. They will begin to ask for one thing or the other that will benefit, and those people they will run away. There are so many instances on this that, there's so many instances, and that is why we're not seeing those investments. There are so many agreements that has been signed, so many, comment and all the rest of it, promises, agreements, substantive agreements have been signed by Nigeria. If even 10% of them are implemented, Nigeria will not be in this state. as of now. But none of them. It is all about what is in need for those people, whether it's the minister. And you see, when the minister gets his cut from the deal, when he gets his own cut from the deal, it goes to the top. That is why there is no accountability. It goes to the top. When I say to the top of all, the president gets his own cut. So that's why there cannot be any accountability. He gets his own cut. The minister cannot.
Obi said it now. Obi said it. He said corruption will reduce if the
minister, a federal minister, cannot do a deal of 5 billion naira. A deal of 5 billion naira. I will not remit to the man, to the Oga Patapata himself. Then he will be arrested and he will be exposed. But once Oga Patapata gets his own part of the deal, everybody will be quiet. And then next year again, they will run the same budget again. That is the problem that we have. All these ministers that are parading themselves and running about all over the place, it is all what they are going to get. What are they waiting for? Wait till November, 2 months from now, they will be sending in their budget. That is when their payday comes in. They have nothing to offer. They're not going. This they just don't have. Unless there has to be a complete overhaul of the system. It's just not going to work. I look at them every day when they talk about deals, what they are going to do, and when you listen to them very well, it takes. And unfortunately, Nigerians can't do this. A lot of Nigerians can't do this. It's not that we have so many educated people, enlightened people, but maybe because of the pressure in that country, the stress that people cannot even think straight, that people will be talking and you cannot process what they are saying. All you need to do is listen to them. When they are talking, just listen to them. You will see the flaws, the contradictions in their statement, in their own statement. It's all there. So when you listen to them and you pick those contracts, you will know right off the bat that this is a flop from day one. They are not going to do it.
Jonathan, you know that when China is coming to invest in your country, they're not just coming with the money, they're coming with the laborers. They're coming to build instead of to give you maybe certain funding. They give you funding quite all right, but they also come to build and secure those things and then tie those things to the loan so that if you don't pay them back, they will operate those things. I think they took an airport in one of those countries, or is it a seaport? These are things Nigeria would have been doing all over Africa. Because if you look at almost all the countries in Africa, you find Nigerians are there. They always call Nigerians troublemakers. These guys are just everywhere, We would have been spreading our engineering skills. We would have been the ones building their bridges. Because whatever price these countries like Germany or China will give to them, we can give them lower. We have tech in Nigeria. It's just that the government is not, helping out. Look at what is happening in Abana. Look at what is happening in Newi. Guys are they are cutting these components, vehicle components, all this Taiwan made, Chinese made. They will look at them and they will carve them. They will manufacture them in the East there. If the government had backed our own manufacturer, we have been doing what China is doing. Today, our beggars in chief are going to China to beg for loans. They say we are almost using almost 80% of our budget to service loans. The whole thing is just exploding my brain. The whole thing is exploding my brain. Servicing debt with almost 80% of your.
I think now that has reduced. That has reduced now because what has happened, obviously, with the depreciation of the Nigerian naira is that the debt we are supposed to service, we can now take the naira that has depreciated to services. Which means we can print naira to service the debts. From what I saw, and not to mention the subsidy removal, I think the debt that we spent about a third of our funds on the debt. It's come down significantly because of it. But that said, I'm really, really disturbed by what is happening with Siemens. And I also, the only thing that is consoling me is that it looks like the government also acted early when they decided to pass amend the constitution to allow states to generate their own power too. That's another aspect that will try to solve this problem. But one of the problems that they keep saying that could become problematic is how when you generate your own power, how do you connect it to the grid that to power the entire state? Personally, I thought that would have been more straightforward because it's a matter of building a substation whereby, because there's already power going to every property in Nigeria, most properties in Nigerian cities anyway. The only problem is that there's no constant power. They get power, but they take it. So
Nigeria is full of lies.
yes, since the infrastructure is already there, all you need to do is just plug into the mains of the grid, and so that whenever the grid comes on, that one, the mobile power line can shut off.
Even Siemens is going to have a problem. Even Siemens is going to have a problem because in Africa itself, Nigeria is not, well, let's say every country wants to build their own power generating system, but Nigeria is not prime for that. There's a country called Congo. I think the power generating, I think there's a dam they wanted to build. That dam can power the whole of Africa. You understand?
But they are sabotaging it every time. See,
exactly.
All these people, they keep going to Western companies. They shouldn't be going to Western companies. I keep saying it.
Exactly.
See, this is why I like what Busy Brain said, that one of the ways to get out of this mess that we are in is to form alliances that actually are useful. Nigeria, have you ever seen Nigeria form any real alliances? No, we haven't. We've never really had any alliance.
You are missing the point. There are external forces that will not let you form the alliance. Don't forget that.
They are cowards. They have not chosen. Because if Cuba that is right next door to America, can form alliance with Soviet Union, our leaders can. Because the moment you form alliance with Soviet Union, what are they going to do? Come and invade you? Soviet Union they will have Russia, they will have their soldiers in Nigeria. How are you going to come and invade? And
they will block every source of funding or every source of aid. That's what the leaders.
It doesn't matter. Keep your aid. Who cares about your aid? See, hold on. The key term I'm looking at here is that if you go and have an alliance with a country like, say, Russia, what you can do with that is you use that time to build up yourself. You use that time to develop technologically. You use that time to build your own security network that is going to be strong enough. Then, so that when the Russians leave, you are still very strong. Like Cuba now is still very, very strong nation. For me, I'm shocked when I saw the numbers. Cuba, their military is relatively reasonable size, average international size, but their paramilitary is 1 point something million. That, for me, that blew my mind. I looked at that number. I said, no, that can't be right.
Cuba has always been under threat. Cuba has always been under threat.
And yet, the fact that they are willing to be that ready for anything, why is Nigeria so slouch?
If America wants to destroy you, how many soldiers do you need? You need about 1 billion soldiers. America has always wanted to destroy
America cannot, because they had a commitment with the Soviet Union not to. That's why that Cuban crisis ended. That's why they couldn't invade Cuba. You see, in life, if you don't dare, you don't get anything.
Yes, exactly.
If you don't dare, you don't get anything.
Nigerian leaders don't dare because they are not there for genuine purposes. Everyone is there to steal. That's the problem. Everyone is there to steal, because if you're not there to steal, you put your hands together and you do the hard work. There's what is called the real work on ground. Today, you don't have fiber optics for internet. You don't have any plans to send any rocket to the space for you to be able to monitor your country. That's 2. 3, you don't have security for farmers. You cannot feed. That means very soon they will encroach all the farmlands, and then everybody will be hungry. 4, there's water drying up. That means you have to be building more water reserves. You are not building water reserves. You are allowing terrorists to take over. That means we are gradually grinding to a halt. Nigeria is gradually grinding to a halt. It's grinding to a halt. Do you know that the Fulani cattle herders is because of water? They are encroaching the south. That you're having these clashes. Very soon, everybody will move to the cities and they'll be scared. Because you can't even travel from Lagos to Ibadan because kidnappers will take you. Those kidnappers used to be cattle rearers, but because they can no longer feed their cattle are dying. They've seen the lure of kidnap money. everyone is now entering the business. So very soon, everybody will just be around Lagos.
The
And
thing
they'll
is
go all
that
around.
it can be managed. All those things can be managed if our government choose to take charge of the
By a
country.
hardworking leader. By a hardworking
We
leader.
just need a daring leader, and Western powers might decide that, you know what, this is the time that they are going to try to help Nigeria get out of the mess. But I don't think they will. They might allow a few things to work. See, many of these companies that you're looking at, like Siemens, or like the case of Bechtel in America, they are basically an extension of the government. They are an extension of the CIA. Like in the case of Bechtel, that was a fact. It wasn't even a this thing, and they caused a lot of problem in many parts of the world. And the same thing, many of these companies that we think they are working for us as corporate entities, we forget that they are from a country. And we make the mistake when we hear democracy and we hear capitalism and we see companies, we think they are completely separate from the government. They are not. They when it comes to national security, they become part of the government, because the government can seize them. And that's another thing people don't understand. The government in America can seize any company they choose to. They can seize Apple and take it if they choose to. So if they
They're
can do that,
fundamentally a part of the government.
Under what?
yeah, exactly.
Under what circumstances?
National security. They will claim national security and they will claim it. That is it. There's nothing you can do about it.
How do you think those governments enter other countries? It's through these companies.
That's how now. Where are we now? We're not on YouTube. Is their company? We are in WhatsApp. We are in Google. We are in Instagram and everything. And I can tell you that
Nigerian government can enter into another country through Dangote. Go and do this there.
do you think about it now? Are you telling me that between Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, they don't have something on you to send you to prison? And WhatsApp? Yes, they have something on you to send you to prison. So this is the problem in societies. We submit ourselves. This is why many other countries don't allow foreign entities to control their social media, like Russians, the Indians, and China.
Yeah, and you can see that they are using all these institutions to weaponize against us. Of late, if you've been following the news, Richard Brand. So once you have an alternative view, so it's the gagging, you will see that they would take their time, but they would come for you. They would look for ways to try and shut you up. And they use their different modes of apparatus. They've used banks against even a politician here in the UK, Nigel Farage.
That's why even America kicked out TikTok.
Yeah.
Not
look at what they did to Andrew
all federal.
Yeah. So
have you heard of Andrew Tate?
Yeah. And this is all the select few. All this, if you look at the bigger picture, it's a pyramid. It's all planned. It's all organized, and it's organized control, by a select few. It's like we are living in an alternate reality where our lives
in a matrix.
Yeah, where our lives are being played and we are just acting somebody else's script. Being mind programmed, everything. So we are being herded in a direction that they want us to go. The moment you come out of that line and say, I think I have a brain, I can think for myself, I can speak for myself, then you become something else. You now be marked for, whatever demolition.
That is the route. That is the route some of our leaders don't want to take, because when they do what is right, then they will take away their funding, the aids. They will take away some of the perks of their offices. Some of them are so compromised that their monies are in most of these countries to be seized, and they cannot. Nobody, after seeing what the previous leaders told, and in fact in Nigeria, it's like there's an agreement between all the former leaders that once you go in, you don't probe the next one. Once you go in, you don't probe the next one. Because I cannot believe with all my heart, with all what happened under Buhari administration, that we have forgotten about them like that.
It's crazy. I think some of all these things, our people need to be opening their eyes to these things. The way I describe it is like we are like, you know, when you're in a building, you see your ceiling, but you don't necessarily comprehend that there's a cloud out there higher. That is what our leaders have done to our people. They've kept them cocooned, not giving them the consciousness of what is going on around them and letting them know that there are bigger challenges that are keeping us the way we are. So every Nigeria hates the next tribe and they hate the next religion and they hate the politicians. That's all most of our people see, because the leaders choose not to open our eyes, because whatever agreement they had with the colonizers, they've been told this is what you have to do. Otherwise, if you try to do anything else, we are going to consider that hostile. And I have to believe that because this is happening uniform in many all the African countries. They don't tell them. The only time they actually say more about it is when they go to the UN. Do you know that Tinubu went to the UN and actually said some of all these things that they are doing in the world seems to be designed to disadvantage us? But he doesn't say that to Nigerians.
That's the mind game, Baba. When somebody wants to eat you, tell you what you want to hear. That's the way they talk. You think those who are controlling him don't know, have not discussed this with him and say, okay, this is how you are going to speak him so that it will appear that you are fighting for the people. But at the end of the day, you're actually on the other side. That's what is, because we are too smart to be falling for this kind of cheap designs.
Like, why does he not come on TV, say, fellow Nigerians, let me tell you what is happening, that our country is surrounded on all sides. There is a reason why your country is not working. Oh.
Is he the prime minister of Iran? It's only in those Arab countries that you find their leaders telling them, look, this and these countries are our enemies. In Nigeria, your leader is already on the other side.
I've wondered that, to be honest. I've wondered because you can see that, okay, now we are hearing things about Abacha, the possibility of how he fought those macro elites. Yeah. But why didn't they bring it to our consciousness to say, Nigerians, I think we need to be carried along so that we would have supported them clearly. We would have supported them better. You know,
you need to be completely
now, the way Obasanjo is agitating. It's like he's trying to make amends for what he knew he could have done, but because he didn't have the willpower and the courage to carry it out. He supports.
You think Obasanjo is cleaner than Abacha?
Sorry?
You think Obasanjo is cleaner than Abacha?
I'm not saying he's cleaner. No.
Yeah, exactly. That's what is holding. That's what held those people from telling us what is going on. And don't forget, they also have opposition.
What I'm saying is this, right? That somebody like Obasanjo has come into power. He was a military president.
Yeah.
And then he became a political, what is it? A
politician.
A civilian president. Yeah. So he has had numerous dealings. He understands these people better. I think out of all the people that have ever ruled Nigeria, he was there when Nigeria was a fledgling. And he might not have understood it better then because he was young himself. But when he came back and been in the corridors of power all these years, he would have an understanding of how things work. Because we've had Al-Mustafa, who was a major, not even, I don't think he was even a colonel. He has this vast knowledge of what was going on. So
you mean he should have told us what's going on?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. They should have carried us along. They should have
you read the story of what's this guy from Congo? Mobutu Sese Seko.
Mobutu Sese Seko.
Patrice Lumumba, is that what you are referring to?
Yes. Okay. You know that sometimes when you come out like that and want to do the right thing, the external forces will use your direct vice or your opposition and they will kill you.
I think I see where we all failed repeatedly is because we didn't take our security seriously. And I keep saying this is because if you look at even at that time, because I always go and investigate and say, okay, what was their security posture when this happened? It's almost like he didn't like the Europeans and he just felt, okay, I can say whatever I like. They're not going to do anything to me. Yes, they will. They will. But he didn't know
Yeah.
that then because they were not used to killing African leaders. He was one of them.
Oh, they killed Murtala Mohammed now.
Let's be using pi, please. Let's be using pi.
Okay, they buy Murtala Mohammed. Who removed? Who removed?
No,
Who removed?
I think there's maybe a bit of naivety back then. The naivety
Yeah.
of not knowing how brutally evil that these people are. And for
Ooh.
somebody to be willing to terminate a whole race or
Yeah.
to buy a
Yeah.
whole nation. They don't care what happens, who
Yeah.
is fired
Exactly.
along the way, as long as they get what they want. They are
Exactly.
not operating on normality.
Exactly.
There
Let me
is
tell you
something.
something. Let me tell you what you have to understand about the Africa in general, the black race in general. We don't mean anything to the external forces. We are the least of their problems. They have us here for our resources, nothing more. Their intention is not to develop us or to bring us to the same level as them. Never. From the time they came here, from the first time we met to this day, go and check it. We have always been at the receiving end. We are either their source of petroleum, gold, what's it called? Diamonds. The Queen of England, the one that left, that went to heaven, may I so rest in peace now, had so much diamonds. If you see the video of her taking diamonds in Sierra
Point of
Leone,
correction. How you know say she go heaven?
no, I beg, let's just skip it that way. We keep her that way. You know how many people are praying for that woman from their country? To her country, people, she's a hero. You know, so I'm sure that she should be their own heaven, the English heaven. So what I'm saying is the intention is not to make us progress or get any better. The intention is to keep us the way we are, to have us as a subservient. Even today, till today, all of us that are in Europe with them, do you see the relationship? Does it look like we are mixing well? Does it still look like we are mixing? I mean, there's always this orange, what's it called? Where they say, hey, this one mixed with this one. But at the end of the day, there's still a divorce. You know, does it look like we are mixing well? Go all over Europe now. The politics that is reigning is far right politics, blaming the immigrants, racism. People are now blatantly saying racist
No,
things.
I wouldn't
Mhm.
say, well, some have captured it and made it a racist thing or blaming the immigrant. As someone who is from a state where we've been infiltrated and taken over, we welcome people with open arms, and before we know it, they are asking us to move aside. I
Which
can
state is that?
understand Plateau State. So
Oh,
I can
sorry.
understand where they might be coming from. But you have to also look at it. It is not normal the way they have been accepting foreigners, let me just be particular, Africans,
Mm.
into their countries. It has not been done in a way to it is not to the benefit of the people. And it is
From
not
my
even
understanding, from my understanding, it is born out of it. From my understanding, no, it is born out of what's it called? Guilt.
it's
These
not
guys know what. I'll tell
please.
you something. I will
It
tell you
is
something. I will tell you something
never.
that happened in England, in UK. In the UK, there was a time after a while, after the IPOB issue was raging and raging and raging. Do you know what they did? They said they now made one announcement. The UK officially made an announcement that all people who are all IPOB people and people from that region who are suffering marginalization, they are now welcome to seek asylum. It was made public. I don't know if you know about that. That is because they were the
Listen,
ones.
let me tell you, let me explain. This is my
Mhm.
understanding. There is a greater mission behind all this, by all this migration. There is, it is
Okay.
a world without borders is what it is being sought. A world where people are diluted. where there will be no sovereignty of a nation, where nationalistic views and feelings and opinions will not be held, where it will be diluted. That is the goal.
Who's going to benefit from that?
Sorry? We might benefit in the short term, but don't be deceived. It is not for your own benefit.
In the long run, okay.
In the long run. In the short term, maybe yes, but in the long run, no. So I will tell my diasporans, see yourself as una go market. Carry what you feel carry. Make sure you have your end date. Make una carry go.
We can't go back to where like no day.
That is why the hustle. That is why we need to hustle and make sure that the things are well back home. That is why all this agitation. That is why we want things to work. Because
that's why I said
you believing on gold and diamond and resources, and then you are
we are still poor.
Imagine in your own house, you have food in your freezer, you have food in the kitchen, then you are going out to go and beg for food. Not be juju be that.
You know, somebody's even writing from the comment section, right-wing replacement conspiracy theory.
I beg to differ, Fumi.
It is no, but it is happening in Italy of all places. It's happening in Sweden. It's happening in Denmark. They are using it as and it is when they're doing this thing, because it's not their citizens that are at the receiving end. They don't care. The burden of Quran, you know, disrespecting people's religious.
Do you think that the move of people from their own country being uprooted, this Japa thing, it is an indirect reason. It is their own policies, what they are doing, that is causing us to Japa.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So
that's
you
the
think that they are putting fire in your own land for you to run and leave your resources.
Okay, that's your state. That place, Plateau now. Let me tell you. You know that before, from days immemorial, you know, I've been hearing of that place as is the safest, the coolest temperature in the whole of the country. Yes. Do you know that that's enough for people to come and stay there?
I've not been around Nigeria, but by virtue of the people that live in Plateau State is a melting pot of the whole Nigeria. Yes. Different tribes, different people. So we mix. You see me, you hear me, you will know. You can't place me. You can't place me. You wouldn't be able to know where I'm from.
You see?
Till I tell you. Not from the way I speak, not from the way I look.
Is that not where this man is from? Gowon is from.
Yes, he is.
See? You see? And it's a Christian place. It's a Christian state, I think.
It is predominantly, yes. But what I'm trying to say is this. Right-wing replacement, I think I would love to hear Fumi's opinion on this, to be honest. I'm not clear what she means by right.
It's rising. It's rising. It's rising.
Theory.
Right.
But the truth of it is, what is going in one country, look at each country, number one, even in the West, there are agitations, and the agitations are kind of similar. They are similar.
When there are agitations in these places, who do they put the blame on?
It's us.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you.
But then again, you cannot blame the people. I don't really blame them. It is the policies of their elites. Because at the end of the day, you are bringing people in. They are looking at you. And the truth of it is, our work ethics, we as far as we are concerned, we give us crumbs, we will turn it into a loaf of bread. And it is that ability to do that seems like magic, that is intimidating to them. They are thinking, oh, this one is coming to come and take my country. It's coming to come and take my land.
You are disrupting their harmony.
Yeah.
You know?
You are coming to infiltrate their way of life.
Yes.
You are coming to come and bring your own religion, your own culture. You will go to certain streets now. When they drop you, let them just let them close your eyes and drop you in that community. You will think you are in that one. Okay, for example, a part of Peckham now. You will think you are in Africa, or they'll drop you in certain parts of there's a place in Luton. You will think you are in Pakistan.
I understand you very well.
you cannot blame, I don't really blame them, but those who are overtly racist, that is why we need to go out there and educate them to understand that
educating these
we are
guys
not
looks
here
like an
because we like
argument.
it. We are here because of the policies of their government.
Thank you.
Then maybe they can join us.
They don't understand. You see, you cannot
So it is
teach.
like in my place of work, I was talking about it to one of my colleagues. In fact, it was on the day of the election. I mean, on the day of the judgment, tribunal judgment. I was so tense, and we were having a Teams meeting, and I just said, "Oh, please, this is on my mind. Please, just have us in your thoughts." So she called me directly, and was like, "Oh, that she's one that is very conscious and very aware, and now proper Oyubo." She can't talk, say something they go on for this world though. Now if you look at it, every part of every country get them. There is something going on. There's a concerted effort to make life difficult for people. So we need to be aware.
But at the end of the day, we all have to look at who's benefiting from the way things are. For instance, Europe is increasingly becoming hostile towards foreigners, and then the cost of living shot up.
But when you say Europe is becoming hostile to foreigners,
yes,
it is it is the way their government, their immigration policy of bringing in people into the country.
No, it's not entirely that. It's not entirely that. What is happening is, like, how will I put it? The easy life they used to have is threatened by external forces. In as
there
much
are a
as
lot of reasons why their easy life is threatened. There are a lot
yes,
of
exactly,
reasons why.
exactly.
We're
Supposed to get to them.
not just down to foreigners coming in.
Let me tell you why their easy life is being threatened now. Let me tell you.
Mm.
Let's say for France now. France have been getting their what's it called? Their vibranium from Niger. Their uranium from Niger to power their electricity. Now that Niger, their coup is usurped power, they now told France to be paying $200 per kg or something like that. From the 25 cents, or is it 15 cents they were paying before? Look at the margin. That was what happened. That's the reason why this current increase is happening, is because of the war between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine can no longer, transport their grains, and at the same time, Russia is no longer giving them gas at the rate they used to get gas before.
Yeah.
So they were now looking towards getting it from Africa, only for Russia to use their allies in Africa to subvert their will.
Yeah.
And these things are like speculations. When the speculation is that in the next couple of years, you will no longer be getting enough gas, enough grain, enough of everything, things will automatically shoot up, because the businesses will be getting the feelers that after this current supply, the next one will be expensive. They will shoot up their prices. That's why things became tough in Europe. Things are gradually getting tough in Europe. I hear that in UK now, prices are almost double. People are not flushing toilet anymore because of water.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
But that's what we are hearing, that the economy in UK now is just dead. Since you guys, and your own economy started dying since you left EU, or what is it called? The EU.
Brexit, the EU.
Brexit.
Yeah.
So, and those things, just the generality of Europe, their easy life is being threatened. And if you watch, they are going back to Africa, to their former colonies, to go and kill. That's how we are saying that Nigeria is in danger, because since UK left Brexit, since the Brexit, we suspected that they are just coming back to Nigeria to take everything we have. And that's just what we are seeing. That's what we are seeing. Nigeria is not moving any inch ahead. Instead, we are going down, down, down. We are not moving any inch ahead. We don't know what's happening on the ground. Only thing we know is that what's it called? This Chatham House became very important before any election. Those things are telltale signs that something is on the ground. Something is happening. Nigeria is not moving forward. You'll be walking. Japa syndrome became the order of the day. If things are not hard, why is everybody trying to leave?
Exactly.
If something is not happening on the ground, I know Nigerians are survivalists. If something is not happening on the ground, why is everybody trying to leave? In those days, some people wanted to leave. Today, everybody wants to leave. What's happening? What's happening? Ask yourself that question now.
Because
Since
they
Brexit,
put fire in the hole that we were sitting there managing.
Since Brexit, people started leaving Nigeria because even the small one that we were getting before, the road block. So all the other, and that's how it is. So France has held all their, because if France, ask yourself, if France was even taking and leaving some for those people, they will not resist.
Hey, well,
The thing don't choke them well.
Sorry, X0. I'm while you are talking, I just opened my phone and on Instablog there is a trending video of Mohbad and Naira Marley. On the table, you will see things like wrapped like drugs, and then guns on the table. Video of guns.
Criminality became the order of the day now.
Oh,
people are augmenting their business with criminality. That's what is happening in Nigeria. Kidnapping became too rife.
Wow.
They are digging even all sorts of criminals in Nigeria. Place that used to go to farm before. Foreigners.
See them videoing. I think there's even, I see 2 pistols and 1 AK-47. Oh my God. See the big stash of drugs.
Drugs.
Nobody can tell me it's anything different. If you go to Instablog Niger, they posted it about 18 hours ago. Oh my God.
So you see, so things are getting hard. It's because they've been sitting on our neck for a long time. And even in Africa, Nigeria is just the the loose end. If Nigeria wake up now, everything will sit up. Those 4 countries that have removed themselves from France, they know what they are doing. Nigeria want to take war to them. So if we take war to them, we'll send them back to France. So what is the essence of the war? What's the essence of fighting them? To take them back to their slave master. So these things have been coming, and it's because they know what they have been doing to Africa. That's why they opened their doors. Look at what they did to Iraq. That's why they opened their door. They finished Iraq. They finished under suspicion. Just out of suspicion that Iraq must be.
No, it was not any suspicion. That was all lies. They would just concoct the lies. They had their own.
That's what it's George Bush now. It's George Bush.
They had their own motive, and that is why they have their own motive. They just need to create give themselves a reason to go into somewhere for their own reason, for their own gain.
Yeah.
Chris, good to have you on the platform. I remember the last time I was stayed this late, it was with Chris. Good to have him on the platform.
Chief Chris.
You are muted.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam. Good evening.
Good evening.
I just listened to too. It was actually when you people were discussing about these right-wing politicians that I wanted to jump in.
Yeah, jump in, sir.
You are not yanning or patter.
No, brilliant discussion. But what I just wanted to add to it is that, this issue of right-wing, the way I see it personally is just my view. It is when we all preach about right wing, but if other people are doing it, it becomes a problem to us. Because this idea of we talking about Africa, Africa first, Nigerian first, is all part of the right wing politics that the Western world they are playing. It's all part of it. And in fairness to these guys, if you have a country, I don't think it's just okay for everybody to just come and at the end of the day, that country loses its identity. For example, if I'm in the UK, I should know that I'm in the UK. If I'm in Italy, I should know that I'm in Italy. If you go to a large part of, especially that London, there are places. Okay, take Birmingham for instance. There are places you go in Birmingham, you think you're in the Middle East completely. You think you're in the Middle East, and these guys are also enforcing the traditions of the Middle East in those places,
Yes,
in
yes.
another man's country.
In another man's country, causing, so they will be angry, they will be upset. Even me, I've been in in a state where that oppression, I didn't mind. I don't mind you coming in to be with me, to live with me, but when you want to take over, that is where there's an issue. And you can
But
see that there's
what
mm,
tradition do they enforce? Is it the religion or
Oh,
the
my
religion,
brother,
number one.
everything, even it's so bad that in school, the food they give to the kids in school, to the extent they want the government to alter the food. They say they don't eat pork, they don't, just everything,
okay?
just
But I think
everything.
I think I think also that I think let me be fair. Let's be fair because in opening your doors, you should also understand that people come in as kings from their own countries, and it will only be fair to treat them as they treat themselves. If a man does not eat pig, it doesn't mean that he's against your country.
No,
It's
see,
just
there's
It
a
is, it
difference,
is,
man.
it is,
No,
it is the demand. You want, it is the demand.
it's
You can
it's the
request for
see,
your
the,
food to be included in the menu, but not for your food to be the one that is cooked.
they take it. You need to understand. They see it as a right. It's like a right. They don't see it as if they are visitors in those countries. They take it as a right. It's their, I don't know how to put, it's fundamental.
I understand what you're saying, but I
Yeah.
will beg to differ because if we continue to see ourselves as foreigners in a country where we now have children and our children are supposed to be citizens, then they have rights demand. These are the children you're talking about. If the idea is for them to be citizens, then they should stop being,
Okay,
how will
okay. Now this is the question, Zero.
I
So I mean, my children are British. Yeah,
yes, they are.
I am. So
Yeah,
fair
yeah.
and square. So
Mhm,
it is, you have made a conscious decision to come and stay in a country that
mhm,
you've taken on their citizenship. Then it
mhm.
is for you to conform to their norms and their tradition.
No,
Yeah,
I think
I think
okay,
no,
go ahead.
Oga Exero, I think that's the point I was trying to make when I said if I go to the UK, I should feel that I'm in the UK. See, for the fact that you go to any country and you are accepted in that country, it doesn't mean that because you are not part of that country, then you have to export whatever you used to believe in your own country. You want to export it to that country. It's
Mhm.
wrong. It is your responsibility to conform to whatever you met there, as long as you were not forced to come to become part of that society. For example, if I want to join a football club, I choose to join a football club and they accepted me, they gave me every right. So it is not now left for me to start telling them that, okay, because I now have every right, then we have to change our jersey. No. For the fact that they gave you citizenship, that doesn't mean
Oga,
uh,
Oga Chris, let me even bring this close. if the rumors are to be believed or the news are to be believed, Meghan married into the British system, the royal family. And when she married into it, she now wants to change it.
Oh, madam, madam, God,
Sorry?
God
Eh?
will bless you 1,000,000 times.
Amen.
Because this has always, because the reason I just said that prayer, because it's even coming from you, a woman. Because I've seen a lot of women argue all in favor of Megan, 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 Megan. I said, no, no. This is a tradition that has been going on for thousands of years. You know, this is the tradition in that family. And you choose to enter. You want to go and change
What
everything.
tradition particularly are we referring to? Is it the racism that was meted out to her, or the royal tradition, royal family's
Like
tradition?
what racism? Can you clarify the
So
racism?
she said specifically that she
She
wasn't
said,
treated like
she
the other.
said, she said.
Yes,
That's
yes,
it.
exactly.
So she
Right.
said.
See, my brother,
No, and the husband corroborated it.
my
Harry
brother,
corroborated.
see, there's another thing we call this racism. For me, I like to look at things very, very holistically. There are things that ordinarily will happen to you, that will happen to you in your house where you have your father and your mother. You tend to overlook them. But if less than 1% of that happens to you with another person, it becomes a very big issue altogether. This fight that she's fighting, the one she's fighting, what about her own family background? What has she done about that? Do you know what it takes for our own father to come out to test? It's just this, like this Mobad, whatever that we are talking about today. Our own family, the kind of segregation, the kind of battles, the kind of demons she fought in her own family, you can't even compare it to what she encountered in the royal home. You can't even compare it.
Mm.
To the extent her father did an interview, it's a Netflix series of
Yeah.
the life she had with the father, the mother, and so the point is just this. This is a tradition that has been there for years and years. Okay, let me take for example Denmark. Do you know that when the king of Denmark died, he had no male child? So the only two ladies, he had two children, and the present queen, Margareta. When she married, she was the queen. She married somebody from France. And the Danish people said they are never ever going to recognize that guy as a king because he's from France. He's from France. So all through before the man died just 2 or 3 years ago, the man stayed at the background. It was the
Yeah.
woman that
But,
was
but Chris,
reigning.
Chris, well, Chris, racism is institutionalized, and we should
So no,
always.
I'm just trying to make that point. So if it happens to that guy at that level, so we
Mm.
shouldn't just feel as if
No,
it's
for me, if Megan and her husband said this is their truth, they lived in that place, in that house, and this is what they faced, I think it's only fair that we listen to them. Because if you also come out with your own story and say this is what you're facing, you would want people to listen to you. They were in that house. Don't forget that Harry's mother was died under mysterious circumstances,
Let
which
me
all fingers point to the
yeah.
royal family.
I
You
get
understand?
all that. I get all that. Now, this is a woman that has been caught in in the lies of in the web of lies that she has taken things not really in context, and has she's put things out there and not giving the proper context of what was there. I am not discounting that she might have faced racism. Of course, they would have turned their noses at her and all that. But
Definitely.
the wisdom was lacking because she came with this woke mentality. she's coming into a place. When she was going in, the whole world celebrated it. It was seen as, oh, fantastic. The monarchy is adjusting, and all that. She was well accepted. But when she started, when you go into a place fair and square, they might treat you in a certain way. But when you assert yourself, remember there are other royalties in Europe who are married to Black women. Currently, I think, is it Luxembourg or one of these Scandinavian countries?
Yeah, I think it's Denmark.
Uh-huh. And she's well accepted. We don't hear any of that. But I think when she's going in, she's trying to assert herself, which in itself is not bad, but asserting herself without understanding. She didn't even wait for the paint to dry, for her feet to settle. She's trying to assert herself. That in itself will put her against a lot of the powers that be. She needed to have gone there, and she was in a better position. He was the preferred royal out of all of them. He was one that did better PR for this family, and she had the upper hand above her other sister-in-law and all that. But the lack of wisdom, there is that arrogance that she went into the home with. I think that is what became her downfall. I'm not discounting anything. I'm not discounting what she might have gone through. No, I'm not minimizing her experiences. No, but there are better ways she could have dealt with it. She went in on a very high note, on a high. They were the favorites at a point, but she did not capitalize on that. She wanted to be her, assert herself from the get-go without having to understand what it was, because that is an institution on its own. You're coming here gung-ho with green eyes to try and do what? A tradition of how many hundreds of years? Learn it first and then look for your own ways of changing it. But you are going there before your feet is settled under the stool. You are trying to change. That is how I see it anyway.
Well,
Madam Busy Brain, I completely agree with you. Completely. God bless you for the submission. It's a holistic view. It's a complete holistic view without bias. You don't just change institution overnight. She came with her eyes too big. That's the way I see it. Yeah.
well,
Unfortunately, guys, I have to go. I really have
me
to go.
too. We've been on this for some time now. I have to
Yeah,
round off.
have to go. I think Niger Watch
Yes.
said by 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
We've
it's
kept watch.
almost. What's the
Midnight
time now?
It's 3:07.
Oh, yeah,
3:07.
it's 4:07.
What,
And
4:07
we're
in the afternoon or in the morning?
in the morning,
Where are you?
Scandinavia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
We are in the UK. Mm.
yeah. When they enjoy better life, then.
Ah, we thank God. We make we no complain. Make we no moan. We thank God.
Abi, it's the first time actually I'm speaking with somebody from Plateau, honestly.
For
But
real.
I hope,
You need to
yeah, but I
widen
hope
your horizon. That is why everybody needs to go to Plateau State so that they can meet the remaining tribes of Nigeria. I
Abi,
don't think, I don't know. I haven't. I've interacted with so many Nigerians from different parts of the country by virtue of being from Plateau State. Mm.
I've been to Sokoto, Zamfara, Kaduna. I've been
Okay,
to many parts of even Nasarawa, Abuja, everywhere. But
you've been
it's
everywhere, but not Plateau State.
not Plateau,
Okay,
not Plateau.
nice
So
talking to
I,
you.
I see what's happening over there, and I mean, I'm disgusted. I've been
It
to
is
everywhere, but
disgusting. It is sad.
just,
Mm.
you know.
Thank you so much. I've got to
So
go.
See you
Mm.
next time.
See you next
All
time.
right,
We'll be
guys.
back here
All
tomorrow,
right, do
guys.
well.
All
Mm.
right.
Good
Okay.
night.
Good night. Yes.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.